Welcome in, guys, to the PPL. I am Fawn. I am definitely making sure that I'm all ready and hyped up for these games that we're going to be having today in the PPL. We're currently in Week 8. We're closing out the PPL split pretty quickly, and especially if, you're just getting ready to play, trying to get ready for everything, and just really excited for Worlds in this case. However, I'm not here alone. Kresnik, good to see you.
Yeah, really, really good to be here. Definitely excited for the games today. Should be some close ones, I think. Especially, I think Knight's Nip should be really really back and forth, just brawl. And then VP SSG later was seeing how SSG's kind of learned, adapted, and what they've taken from last week to this one.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited for, of course, just this first matchup, Knights versus NIP. There's been quite a little bit since we've seen that. We're gonna take a look at the standings overall and see, of course, where everybody is in the Paladins Premier League. Of course, if you guys weren't ready for last week or you guys aren't too sure, obviously not as Vincere do take #1 spot in this case. NIP is now in second, Envy, VP, SSG, Kanga, Pittsburgh Knights, and then finally Renegades in last place. But the thing is that, once again, I'm really, really interested in seeing this Pittsburgh Knights versus NIP set because, of course, it was a while ago. We had showed a video where Ricardo was talking about, we aren't really expected to do too well, of course, with this new roster, but give us like a few weeks, like a month and a half down the line, and I'm excited to see what PK is going to bring today.
They've already shown some improvements, I feel. I mean, throughout the games they've had last week, took 2 maps off of Envy, who we hadn't seen in a bit, but seemed pretty strong in general. But PK, I think they've been growing. Their placement, it was a hard hole for them to dig themselves out of, for sure. And I think they've been doing it pretty well, fairly. They've been playing around each other. The drafts have definitely changed a lot with the addition of Simsalou and Zarini, but I think they're still strong, and I think they still have room to grow.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. I mean, especially when you think about Ricardo, of course. I mean, the damage player for Pittsburgh Knights in this case. Well, one of the 2 damages, of course, what you'd expect to see. And we've seen him do so well in so many different games, especially about, I believe it was like last week when we had seen a lot of this upcoming Strix play from him. And a lot of it was sort of highlight him. A lot of it was him doing extremely well. And of course, on the Leon, the hit scan presences for him are so strong. And he definitely knows what he's doing, of course.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the one to watch this week because it should be potentially the last week that Strix has this prominence.
Right, exactly.
That he's been coming back with, purely because this is the last week on this patch before we switch to Pirate's Treasure with the, I was going to say nerf, but I mean, I guess it's kind of to be seen. The rework for Roost going from damage reduction in scope, which is one of the reasons why he's so powerful, to extra ult charge when you hit your shots with the Talon Rifle. So we'll have to see how they kind of, this last hurrah potentially for Strix goes on these maps, because he was being seen on every map last week, I feel. You could play him almost anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was extremely strange seeing that because, of course, we were seeing, of course, the standard compositions, and then all of a sudden it was like Strix was coming out, and then we were seeing so many different teams pick him because of, exactly like you said, like the DR was just really, really good on him, and of course, having this change happen, like you said, when Pirate's Treasure ends up coming out next week in the PPL, that'll change a lot of his playtime. But of course, we still have these next 2 days, Thursday, Friday, for the Strix play.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. We'll see how PK play with it, but we'll also have to see how NIP adapts to it, because they've been a team that kind of like to force their own thing, play kind of unique. They were kind of the Mavericks of the double off-tank, really aggressive meta. They were the forerunners there. And we're going to have to see how they play in the last days of this meta. And I'm talking about Strix. I mean, Tenor, they were playing Strix with they had some Torv Strix strat on Frozen Guard they ran before that was really out there. Very different. And that's something that NIP, I think, that's something for NIP, right? They're willing to bring out these weird different things, but sometimes it can bite them when they try to play this buck. Even with a player like Tenor that's so flexible across so many champions, NIP are going to have to figure out these last 2 days of this meta, or else this could be a really tough matchup for them.
Yeah, I agree, especially when we've sort of seen like this sort of decline in NIP's performance. They've been losing to a bunch of different individuals. They've been losing to Kanga. Of course, we've seen the newly and improved VP. I mean, NIP's sort of just fallen in this case. And of course, this is what we're coming into this go-around, because before they had beaten PK, but now with this sort of, I guess, I don't want to say devolving because I feel like that's too harsh, but that's the only word I can think of right now, is this devolving NIP. PK can come into this really strong.
Yeah, but the one thing that I think hasn't devolved from NIP's play, I mean, Tenor's still performing great.
Of course, yeah.
I feel.
Yeah,
I don't think he's really fallen off too much. now maybe, I mean, maybe now that he's 18, maybe that youthful energy is gone. Just celebrated his birthday this week, so we'll have to see if that takes anything down for them. But this matchup should be interesting. We'll have to see how NIP kind of fixes things, how maybe now that they're not in first place, if they're going to change anything for this week.
Exactly. The map bans are here. We have Frozen Guard, Splitstone Quarry for both NIP and PK in this case. Of course, Ascension Peak and Fish Market. You just know. You automatically
Well, it's just the
know.
NIP bans.
Yeah.
Phase 1, they banned the same 2 maps. Not these 2, but Splitstone Warders, this is that. But those maps taken out, nothing crazy standard, so I wouldn't be surprised to see us go to something like, Frog.
Frog Isle?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like half standard, I would say. Some teams really don't like how it's played, but it does kind of lend itself to the normal draft, the 2-2 kind of.
Right.
You always have the double tank, you always have the double DPS. Triple DPS really struggles on this map when you leave that danger area open.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of leaving something open, one thing they're not going to do in this case, at least the exact opposite, is they're going to get rid of the Strix. No question whatsoever. We see the Torval ban immediately, NIP pick up the Strix, which, of course, we've seen, like we had just mentioned it before, we're seeing such a rise in his play. Don't want to deal with him, especially on Frog. And Makoa is being banned out as well. NIP obviously are going to try and go for the Atlas in this case, but also banning Strix on this map is nothing. Even if you didn't know about Strix, I feel like this is like obviously a ban where you see sniper battles a lot on this map.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a Frog Isle kind of thing,
right.
You don't really want to deal with snipers. I mean, it's on other maps too, but specifically getting rid of Strix here, he's not that easy to pressure with that DR card. I mean, even if you make the room, Kinessa will blink away if you catch her without the teleport. She's easy to get, but Strix has a lot of ways out. He can stealth, tactical retreat, bonus speed. Can't really find him perfectly with the way the damage numbers come up. So, interesting ban. And I like that Knights, even though they were on first pick, banned Makoa. Because it forces NIP to ban Atlas, and Knights know how comfortable NIP are when Makoa and Atlas are in the pool.
Right, exactly. Varric Ashe being locked in on NIP's side. Knights in this case, obviously the first picking the Khan, and we have 2 upcoming characters it is that they're really trying to draft out in this case. I mean, I'm really just trying to consider like the possibilities that you'll see in this case. I mean, 10 seconds left. Of course, they're taking their time. They have plenty of bank time to utilize off of this as well. And I guess the question I could pose to you is, so Strix is gone. Are they going to try to lock this Kinessa, or do they feel like, are they going to feel as threatened by it? Or do you feel like the drafts, when you have the potential of like a lot of cover that you can have with Willow, a lot of cover you could potentially have with Drogos, is that just going to outweigh the Kinessa?
Against Varric Ashe, they might go for more of like a defensive mid-range kind of thing, where they play with a flanker and like a Cassie or Leon. But it looks like they will go for the Kinessa, and they're taking the Willow too, so both DPS is locked in if they do go with this right now. Interesting, because Willow I think can struggle on this map sometimes if you are pushing too far forward. Like if you're on flat ground to flat ground, Willow doesn't have the same damage that she does. Willow kind of wants at least a little bit of a high ground advantage versus you, but with the Kinessa being gone, with the Kinessa being on their side, that means Fae Flight's a lot more free. Outside of the Leon presence burst damage combo, that Willow's going to be really hard to deal with when she's in the air.
Right, exactly, yeah. I mean, once again, mentioned it before, you can sort of see it with Drogos as well. I mean, like you see, you have some cover when you're up in the air, but you made a very good point. Willow wants to be elevated. There's a lot of flat ground on here. You won't be as elevated. You won't really have that advantage to peak because normally where everyone is, like everyone can normally see each other or they know where they are because of how small this map can be. The Ying being picked out as well. Eevee following up soon after that, which I do like the Eevee pick. Of course, the mobility is going to be very, very huge on this, and being able to control danger is going to mean a lot too.
Yeah, Ying is pretty good for healing on this map too. She'll get better next patch when the jumping and accuracy is removed from Life Exchange, so she can do the jump heal that Damba can do over the walls like that the snipers tend to peek.
Right.
But she can still throw her illusions on the point blind. She can be behind the wall, land it on top of that column on the point to to do a lot of healing towards this point tank, and then she can look danger and spread the heals that way. Eevee, kind of a standard pick. You're surprised that Nip pick it up. I mean, we saw them struggling with Eevee and Maeve in these drafts. They were going with Buck over Eevee a lot of the time. So interesting that they do go for that, but really strong in general in this meta. But Alex is really going to have to show up because I don't think his Eevee play has been phenomenal recently.
Right, exactly. Maldamba, Anar. Now, once again, we see the Maldamba being picked out. Most of the time, though, you don't really see Maldamba be picked out as much anymore because of the fact of Rizzo being able to counter out that Dread Serpent. He's not as high value as he normally is in this case, but he is picked. Knights obviously feel comfortable with it in this case. I mean, Inara being locked in last as well. I feel like they're probably going to go for early on here. I mean, it makes the most sense to be able to go back and try and not only deal with that Willow, but fight back against that Kinessa.
Plus tenor.
Also
I mean,
true.
Tenor on Leon. He's
Also true.
Really hard to do with. That's probably what they'll do. They could maybe go Cassie for the Inara Khan. Pretty good backline into them. Cassie will struggle a little bit more into Kness and Willow, though, so Leon will probably be the final pick. And Damba, they don't have that much CC.
Right.
They actually have a good mix of items. You need Haven to deal with the Knessa. You're going to need Blast Shields to deal with the Willow. And you're going to need Resilience to deal with Damba and Inara, so I think it's a good choice. They're not too heavily CC loaded, and that's kind of where Damba will keep seeing play. When If a team doesn't have too much CC, you can have him to supplement it.
Interesting.
Shaw would be very interesting. Maybe it's because there's no Cassie, for no Heat Haze, viewing. Like
Right, of course, right.
That's an interesting pick over Cassie and Leon. I feel like they're going to struggle a lot more into the Willow than they would have with Leon.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like, of course, Shaolin, you would be able to deal with a lot more against the Knessa in that long-range battle because he doesn't really have that much damage fall off. But against Willow, it's a little bit questionable. But at the same time, of course, this is all good on paper. Not necessarily in the game. Everything can always change. But the teams are locked in. We're going to throw it right down to the casters to take us into the game.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Happy Thursday, everybody. We got a great matchup here. Dolson and Gormizer on the call for set number 1 of the day. NIP, they're in a bit of a free fall at the moment. They've had, a couple wins this split. But prior to week like 8, 9, 10, in the last split they hadn't lost, and now everyone's beating NIP. I don't know if it stops with the Knights.
I mean, they've been tweeting out today. They've been saying this is the day to turn it around, right? Because admittedly, this is that set. If you lose this set to the Knights, it doesn't necessarily scream as much about NIP as much as it does scream maybe about the Knights' improvement. Sure. But it is kind of a giant flashlight, a spotlight onto where they are standing right now. They're not first anymore. And that alone is kind of a shocker for them. I think it's going to be something that they have to kind of come to terms with. But you also have to come into, I want to say, grips with the fact that, I mean, you're losing to VP, who was 6th. You've lost to Kanga, who at this point is admittedly looking kind of where the Knights were last split. And that kind of shuffle, you have to crack down now, or maybe you don't come back from it.
I mean, you look at the standings, 15, 14, 13, 12 is 1 through 4. NIP have 2 games this week. Virtus Pro do as well. You could see some standings shift, not just dropping down to 2nd, maybe even to 3rd. Knights will look to help out Virtus Pro in that regard. Bittner playing the Shaolin this time around, trying to counteract the Knessa on the opposite side. Good plug damage for about 1,000. One more shot would have done it to Simsalou on the opposite side here. Alex getting some plug damage in on the back side. Not the Mal Damba here in this case. Haven't seen too much Damba recently. First blood, though, over to the Shaolin.
Going for the planted as well. Just going to be able to get some plug damage, like you were saying, onto the ramp here. But the biggest thing is with that Inara dropping, complete dynamic shift on the objectify. You can see, I mean, Knights almost immediately have to just give up the territory. And if Dicky Dog can hold this ramp well, and with that kind of shot, he absolutely can, there's almost no chance to really get back. Granted, it's 50 to 60, so you're still going to be able to find a touch. It's just real difficult.
They're going to look for the stagger as well. 81% for NIP here. Simslow able to pull back a kill. Alex does the same, though. Both off tanks gone. Looking for Eevee to maybe get a touch, or Simslow, rather, to get a touch on this one as the Knights now retake the mantle with Alex back in base. Faithlate comes out first, unable to find the last shots. Gets cleaned up there
to Bird.
by Bird. Yeah, good shots there. 90% for the Knights as Diggy Dog starts to roll forward here. We're going to get a contest. One more fight will decide who comes out on top. Bird, though, finds the kill but drops off first. Seismic Crash drops down. Dread Serpent sends Diggy Dog running. Cuss Cutie with a great ultimate there. Ice Storm down onto the point. A double kill for the Damba. And it looks like the Knights have sealed up point number 1.
Gonna get found out here by Bittner, though. It's still gonna be going into overtime, trading back and forth. NIP, definitely the weaker trades. And like you said, they do finally capture it and kind of control it. And Bird played that phenomenally. I mean, it's one of those things that you look at Ying, and you kind of look at her damage, and you go, all right, so that's going to be good, like, tickle damage. Like, maybe on the side, like, the extra 200, 300 she might be able to do to somebody could be significant if it's someone like, Eevee, 1,800 health. That's going to be a good chunk of her, but for the most part, most people ignore it. But that entire time, you've got Simsalou in Faithlight, focusing down Bittner, who is getting burst healed by Bird, while in between he's finding these shots. Like, it was just so much kind of micromanaging from Bird that kept everything rolling for them. It doesn't get them the point, but it looks real good.
G-Bunny is going to pull in the overpower, deliver that one on a silver platter to Rakata, who's waiting in the wings here. Rolling forward is this payload still. Simsalo so close to that Faith Light. One more shot, one more second rather. We'll have that ready to go. He'll feel comfortable free and clear to use that whenever the opening comes, and it might be right now. Faith Light does get popped. Bonker dropped off. Now you're relying on the Ash to get in there and contest a payload, but there's so much cleave damage coming through. Goes into the planted. Maybe that was a bad idea as Rakata finds the shot. Bird goes down. Now Diggy Dog with the shoulder bash through is going to put him out of range. One more blink in to contest from Alex. Once that ice block wears out, he's going to get dropped off. Now you got to stagger. Everyone just trying to throw bodies onto the pile, but once that one stops, payload's going to go through.
Yeah, at this point, one by one, just kind of knocking dominoes over here, and the Knights finding themselves control. Not too surprising on Frog Isle to find a 2-0. And I'm going to actually take this to pause and say it's so refreshing to see Frog Isle again.
I love
it's
me
just
some
been
Frog
so
Isle.
long. I know Navi likes to ban it a lot. A couple of teams like just kind of ignore it if it's not banned. So it feels like it's just been a long time since I've gotten to just kind of enjoy an old-fashioned Frog Isle. And, well, you don't get much more old-fashioned than Cuss finding a double kill. Granted, on a Maldamba,
What are you trying to say
it's
about
incredible.
Cuss, Score?
He's been around a while, and he's really good at supports.
He absolutely is. Do you think, I guess Damba works a little bit better. I know a lot of what people kind of express concern in with Maldamba is if you put him into a composition that has too much CC already, it doesn't work out quite as well. I mean, Seismic Crash, overpower, but I guess it works here. I mean, Resilience doesn't have quite the same buying power as it would with a fully stacked CC comp.
Yeah, you're definitely looking like the number where it falls apart is 3 to 4 ults. All right, once you hit 4 ults that are CC, Resilience is just an insta buy. At 3, it's still kind of shaky.
This is a huge flank from Bittner into the planted.
Wow.
Nice double kill for him as well as Alex in this case. Zarini just mitigating as much percentage as he can. He'll get staggered out. Actually, getting another tick or two in there, so Zarini well played by him. So now NIP are going to have fast cap to try to get back into this one. Dome Shield, Illusory Rift to seal this one up for NIP. Headhunter, Seismic Crash to try to get back into it for Zarini. The Dome Shield's going to get dropped up onto the high ground. Rakata finds the first shots onto Alex, and now you lose so much of that mobility. The flank pressure heavily gone. Illusory Rift answers back. Shoulder bash right on through. Seismic Crash, though, drops off. Diggy Dog, they're fighting their way back into this one. Bonker finds some return shots. Zarini needs to get into range. They have somebody contesting on the point. They're going to stagger out Bird. And what a fight back from the Knights.
And that's one of the best moments where I don't even know if the full intention was to stagger out Bird. It just takes that long as Zarini to kill him down. But either way, it keeps you going. And that's the one downside. I mean, NIP had a lot of control, but you'd called it out in the middle of the fight. Zarini stayed on the objective, was able to get just a few more ticks in there and kind of not only keep NIP from gaining that last little tick over, they could have captured that objective otherwise, but also gave them enough that NIP can't fight back. Like, it was the perfect timing, and it's all kind of bought on the back of the front line.
Well, their retake attempt, they already had 57% or so.
Yeah.
Now you're looking down the barrel of a 3-0. If you're NIP, really a 4-0. Simsalu at 10-2-13. We know he's a big fan of the Willow in the current meta. He's making it look relatively good here. Diggy Dog, quiet game. Tough game for the off-tank this time around. I mean, Willow has really turned into such a difference maker in this meta.
Yeah, I mean, we see teams, NIP specifically, in the last couple weeks, have started banning her just because of how important and potent she can be. And admittedly, she's even more potent, I think, on teams like the Knights. That's actually Simsalu, probably one of the strongest Willows that we kind of have in the league right now. And at 10-2, he's showcasing almost exactly why. And there's not a lot you can do against him. I mean, with his vision, he's gone to itemize specifically to kind of catch Bittner out if Bittner goes for a flank. He's going to be able to deal record damage because he already has Dead Zone. Shields are going to be no problem for him. Health bars, no problem for him. Catching out this Shaolin if he gets too aggressive, no problem for him. He's just got it all worked out.
Does just that here. As we stand, about a minute left in this offensive push. Ice Storm drops down. NIP just looking for some effective trades on the backside to delay this as long as possible. Knights are able to break out of their base just a little bit, though. Cuss QD very effective on the Dread Serpents up to this point so far in this game. The Knights finally breaking that stranglehold that NIP had in. They get the payload moving forward. And you better believe they'll feel free and clear to use those ultimates if they see an opportunity to end this game.
Oh, absolutely. And normally, 38 seconds, you looking at a map, maybe Splitstone Quarry, Timber Mill, et cetera, like the bigger ones, that's no time to work with. You pretty much are scrambled from the beginning. Frog Isle, you're going to use 15 of that really to close this out. Like, it is not a long push. All you need to do is keep the kills and the pressure up. And right now, they're in a good position. I mean, that's going to be 2 clean ones just right off the bat.
Yeah, brilliant position. And Bittner was not able to kill off Ricotta there on the back line. Zerini playing his frontline role to a team, moves forward. A nice double kill for him. NIP completely swept here. Only have a couple members in the back line. Simsalo is going to try to stagger that one out. Overtime will begin. One more kill might just do it. Yeah, the head doink up and down, but you're not in a position to contest. The overpower counters that one out. G-Bunny's still alive. The dome shield drops off. Ricotta looking for just one more plug shot. Alex keeps them in this game with a nice double kill, and it looks like NIP might just live to fight another day.
That was a really good planted to keep them alive, but right now Zerini still being alive might be able to keep this rolling forward. Has his support behind him. Does go down though. So the Knights have to take their hands off that one.
Those were tense moments there for just a moment. The start of that fight, Zerini with a double kill. The assert dominance of the dome shield, though, used for NIP. So you look towards this next mid, so much of that front line control, 13%, 40%. I mean, they will be up towards the end of this mid. Knights on the opposite side, though, don't really have a lot aside from the Fae flights. So 2 teams in very similar situations.
I mean, it's exactly what you said. Knights saw the light. They could see the end of the tunnel, and they were like, we're going to close this one out. We'll do whatever we need to. And at the end of the day, the only thing they really didn't use is this Fae flight. They're almost there. It's going to take a little bit for Cuss to get that Dread Serpent. But everything else, Headhunter maybe a little faster charging because the damage output Ricotta's going to have. But Shaolin, like, Heat Haze can be tide turning, but at the end of the day, you don't need it. He's just impactful. I mean, at the end of that round, really good planted shots were all Bittner needed to kind of change the course of that and change the pace to take care of Simsaloo.
Simsaloo's going to look to change the course in his own right this time around. Commander's grab gets G-Bunny back on the map, but a good Ice Storm helps Bittner kill off the con in this case. Simsaloo does find a kill at the end of the Fae fight. Zerini gets himself 54% on the point as well, but the kills all start falling for the Knights here. Diggy Dog forced back. And the Knights, and it's the same thing. The Knights, they had 60, 70% by the time that fight's over. Now Bonkers, maybe with a last-ditch effort to try to get in there. It's not going to happen. The Knights are going to seal up game number 1.
Zerini's so good. Like that, the rest of the team puts a lot of effort into that, but Zerini's focus on the objective is something that the Knights didn't have in split 1. That was one of the things that a huge talking point coming into this split. With Simsaloo, with Zerini coming in, it's kind of an enlightening to that EU style of play. And Zerini does the same thing that Navi has done for years, where it's you can play however you want. You can win fights on the side. You can kill G-Bunny left, right, and center. But I'm fighting from the point.
Yep.
And so no matter what you do to our team, I'm going to be at 60% before you get anywhere.
Yeah, it's such an interesting dynamic to watch. A lot of people kind of raise the question, is NIP just at their best when they're breaking the meta? Because that's what we saw so much of in split number 1.
Yeah.
A little bit less of here in split number 2. The Knights strike first, though, up 1-0 over NIP. Looking to tie it up right after this.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back to the Paladins Premier League, guys. Of course, after that really amazing game, PK really showed up today. A 4-0, a 4-1 against
Felt
NIP
like a 4-0.
on Friday. Yeah, right. Yeah, it did. It did almost. I thought it was gonna end really around the end of that third round, sort of like that third point. I thought they were about to cap it, but Dome Shield just too strong. But regardless, post-game stats here. Of course, we do see that Zerini is right here, 62,471 damage. Once again, Anara. He's playing really aggressive, just knowing what to do on this map, really.
Yeah, he was controlling that point really well, making a lot of room for the rest of his team. Ricotta, actually, he outdamaged Ricotta. I think that was just due to the pressure coming in from NIP. NIP were doing a lot to kind of get onto him. I mean, Alex and Bittner also both outdamaging Ricotta as well. Tough game for the tanks on NIP, though. I mean, they were kind of just losing the fights on all the sides of the map. 4-11 Bunker, 2-10 Diggy. But we mentioned him already. Zerini was so hard for them to deal with. On that point, getting pocketed by that Damba. Speed Spirits combined with Anara pretty much has been a classic combo. That extra movement speed plus the double pocketing on her. So hard to deal with, especially when they have the damage rushing up.
Right, exactly. I mean, Zerini just knew where to be and when. Of course, we saw him putting on some pressure onto a lot of people. He was really just running a lot more people down than you would expect. And you brought up the point before, which I saw in the post-game stats, which was still true. He out-damaged Tenor. He out-damaged Bittner throughout that game. And he was doing so well with just his positioning. Like you see him right here, of course, really, he's just staying on the point. But he was rotating with his team a lot more than you probably would expect an Anara really to do. But he was just in the right spot, man. I mean, I can only say so much without repeating myself. But, I mean, Zerini was just definitely, I think he was personally the MVP of that match. Simsy did really well, too.
Yeah, for sure. Both of them, both the new additions to the Knights, looking very, very strong. And I also think it's kind of a side effect of the draft from NIP. They actually looked more comfortable on the Eevee than I thought they would. But that Shaolin, very rough. I feel like, did they think they were being baited into the Leon because it was so good? They're just like, ha, joke's on you. I see right through your plan. And then they just picked a worse DPS.
Right.
That's what it looks like, because I honestly don't know why they wouldn't have gone with the way to counter Simsi and get more pressure on Zerini, because obviously both of them just completely popped off.
Right. I mean, that's Shaolin, once again, we have mentioned it before, was a good pick in theory to deal with Kinessa, not so good dealing with that Willow. Obviously right here we have map pick 2. Shadow Desert is up there, is up on the map. And I'm curious because, once again, we don't normally see, or maybe it's just because of this past week, I haven't really seen Shadow Desert as much, but of course, most people, I feel like, just end up getting rid of it in this case.
Yeah, it's a map that not a lot of teams like how it plays. I know some teams, when it came out, said it didn't feel like a siege map to them, at least the mid-fight didn't. But teams are kind of adapting, figuring it out as we go on, and now some teams kind of tend to prefer it. I know SSG has played pretty well on this map, and I'd be picking it here. Not sure how it would go. It's another kind of backline heavy map, which makes sense. You know, Tenor's probably their best player, I would say. So going to a map like this where he can pop off if given the chance is strong. And Knights probably just don't want to give them Torvald. This week is his last hurrah potentially. You know, here. So
him and Tyra.
Yeah, him and Tyra.
Yeah.
They want to. I don't think they want to give that away, but they might be forced to ban Koa and Atlas here if NIP bans smartly.
Yeah, I mean, they got rid of the Willow once again last time. Not only is it a good pick, but also the fact they don't really want to deal with Simsy's Willow in this case. It's been a problem for them before. Obviously, last map it was a very big problem. Drogo's ban is interesting because not only do we never, ever, and I mean never ever, see him on this map, but that's not who I would expect for NIP to be banning in this case.
I mean, if you're trying to ban out Simsaloo, ban Maeve or something.
Right,
ban Eevee. I mean, the NIP are going to get the Torvald because Knights do get forced into that Makoa ban, but still interesting bans by them because now Knights can get the better pocket targets here. I expect him to end up with a Lex, some kind of very hard pocket. It's got to be Lex or Leon ending the draft at some point for NIP. So Knights probably have to find answers to that. Maybe they go to a double backline instead so they don't have that very strong counter flanker countering them.
Yeah, I mean, we already see the Leon here. You did mention it before, and of course, this is what you'd expect to see. If they manage to get the Torvald, we're letting them have it, then why give them good options to go with that, right? They locked the Genos. They're looking at the Genos, which I said lock the Genos because I pretty much knew at this point. They definitely want to be able to give that Leon that extra damage boost. Get rid of them on the... Get rid of the opportunity for NIP to pick that Leon, of course. And in this case, you see both of them being locked. NIP obviously going to return fire here. They go for the con. Okay, that's interesting. But the question is, who would they try and pocket with this Torb now? Lex, maybe?
Lex would be my guess. It could also still just be a Maeve or an Eevee. You know, it could be one like a standard flanker. This is a very hard
will
draft
bring
for
an
NIP.
end
Because
to
if
the
Knights end up with a
darkness.
really good Wrecker, really good kiting comp,
Yeah.
NIP's, I don't see a world where NIP win the second, after the second mid. Con and
Right.
Torvald both get destroyed by Wrecker once it's online, so going to be harder for them. I do love the start, the counter draft from Knights, the Generous Leon going very early. I think that's strong. I think they have a chance. If they find ways to set up the through time and space also later, maybe they end up with an EV since they got rid of the stronger counter flanker. You can have that Ice Storm through time and space combo, which would be very reliable. Barrack will be picked by them because, I mean, you need a point tank, and he definitely pairs the best with Genos.
Right, yeah, you see, once again, like you mentioned, Barrack, Ash being locked in for Knights, that's going to be really strong, especially on Shadow Desert, man. Like, Ash, I've seen so many times where Ash has single-handedly carried games and or fights on Shadow Desert especially, and I love the Ash pick. I love the fact that she's actually coming out in this game. Lex could be picked. Now, I was wondering, just out of curiosity, could a BK be brought out on NIP side to try and counter the flank or try and counter a situation where they have to control those sides, because that's so normally important.
On NIP, I think they wanted something they can get aggressive with. They could do it with the BK, but he doesn't really have the reliable long-range damage, so Knights can just play like a very kitey composition. I could actually even see Strix. I mean, I mentioned it in the pregame. We've seen this play with Torv pocketed Strix on Frozen Guard from NIP before.
Nani?
Zingrok.
Say hello.
Okay, I get this. So
Okay,
they're
explain.
going to pocket the Zin.
Okay.
He's going to be their primary target if they do lock both of these picks. They're going to pocket the Zin. He's going to be the one that closes the distance and gets the picks. Grok is going to just be softening them up for the Zin to finish up. Because Field Study also boosts your abilities, so if they pocket the Grok in the stalemate, then the Shock Pulse is going to do even more damage. There was no way.
Come
on! I wasn't even gonna side with that at all.
Oh.
Grok is going to soften them up because Shock Pulse also gets boosted by Field Study. And they're going to use the Tempest and the Inflame to have the ultimate go button.
Right, yeah. That makes sense. That makes it, and we've seen that before. We've seen Furia, we've seen Grok, we've seen the two of them with a Torvald. That's going to be crazy. Like we've seen the aggression on Bright March before. We saw it earlier in the PML. We also saw it sort of in the PCL, where we saw Furia Grok being brought out on Bright March, and we saw the damage it can do. When you actually want to be able to go in, you said it perfectly. Literally the ultimate go button.
Yeah.
You already have the Torvald. You're going to be able to have a lot of that damage amped in this case. But that's so aggressive. They definitely could counteract what Knights are trying to go for here.
I think so, but I think Knights have a really good counterplay draft. I mean, they obviously, NIP want to go in, they want to find a pick immediately. Look at the people they're against. Genos is going to be a mile away. Leon has Enlightenment to buy time. Ash has 90% damage reduction, Dome Shield, Midnight. There's options for Knights to counterplay the aggression from NIP.
Right.
It's going to come down to NIP finding an isolated target. And I think Knights can play smart enough to get away from that.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, of course you have, like I said, you see the Ash, you see the Barrack, Maeve, Leon, Genos, and of course you think a lot of unsuspecting damage is going to pop out, especially since Luminary buff on both Ash and Barrack, and really on any of those targets on Knight's side are going to be really, really hard to deal with. But I sort of like NIP's draft after you really just ended up explaining that, because once again, we've seen Furia Grok before, and it's strong when you do it.
Yeah. If Knights can kite well, it could work. But NIP, I mean, they've shown they can execute in the past. Can they bring back that old knit magic?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see it in this game. Take it away, casters, for game 2.
Well, NIP, they draft themselves some fun. The Knights on the opposite side, though, anti-fun. A little fight versus anti-fight. In that regard, as Kresnik points out. I agree, but I think the Knights, as wild and crazy as NIP's draft looks, I think the Knights have something that can work well against it. I don't want to root against the fun that is Torvald, Grok, Furia, Zin in this case. I mean, Zin honestly outshadowed by the comp that's built around him. It's going to be some fun to watch. I said that NIP might need to start breaking that meta again. Yeah. It's one way to do it.
I mean, this is one of those things where Knights, if you said, hey, we're going to pick Genos, we need 2 tanks to go with it and 2 DPS to go with it, they have literally the perfect draft that rides that line. But NIP are following that line of what kind of found them success. We're going to play the weird stuff. We're going to play the champions that nobody picks up as often anymore. We're going to play things that have been in their own metas and see how they mesh together with what you're trying to do, which is kind of the current world.
Well, I imagine the Knights will they'll look to kind of kite backwards in a lot of these scenarios. You saw already on G-Bunny on the Knights side, he was taking one too many shots from Alex in this case. Rakat actually finding first blood onto Bittner. That puts the Knights in a good spot. Instead of backing off, they might take this as their cue start pushing forward. NIP were on the point first.
Jeez.
Those bubbles getting absolutely melted by Ricotta. Zorini on the backside of the fight as well finds himself a kill. Being nullified there. Alex getting NIP their first kill in this game. A double kill now for the Zin as he tries to stabilize this one out. And he mitigated, I think, a lot of point percentage that the Knights might have been able to get. And now forced back. Killing spree for Ricotta.
I mean, between all the shields, the billow, the Stormwalk, like, is just everything that they have coming from their team. There's a lot of, like, get me out of this engagement, I don't want to die yet on NIP. But it's so far not been enough to really save their lives, right? Like, I've seen a lot of them run away from the engagement and try to get out, but then get tracked down just a couple of seconds later. Bittner specifically right now, but it's been happening to Alex just as well. And it's moments like that where it's just, you take too much damage from Ricotta.
Alex, though, Zorini takes too much damage from Alex this time around and Flame Up for the first time in this game. Midnight counters that one out. Alex finds the first kill onto Simslow in this re-engage. Ricotta still alive in the backline, though, so far away from the rest of the fight. Enlightenment rips through time and space does as well. Bittner has a couple of kills in this one. NIP, too much offensive aggression, and it looks like they're going to seal up this first mid once that point tank goes down, and he does. Overtime begins, overtime expires, and NIP strike first.
Losing Zorini early in the fight, even though he was able to respawn and kind of get back to the objective, just kind of pulled the carpet out from under the Knights, right? Yep. They just did not expect it. They didn't have any really kind of contingency for it. G-Bunny was a little too far off, and then Alex just got too many kills. There's a lot of damage from just a Yomi Zin, period, let alone a Yomi Zin with the Torvald bubble. And I'm wondering...
And an Inflame behind him.
Yeah,
you know?
and an Inflame behind him. When you stack them all up, yeah, you know, the cards are a little bit against you as the Knights. And the thing I'm curious about, like, this is one of the last weeks that this kind of strategy is going to work.
I was going to say.
As capable as this.
Yeah.
I mean, Torvald, this might just be the last Torvald game we see in this current iteration.
Well, what a game he's having so far. Doing his job, putting the bubbles on Alex. A triple kill for the Zin. Forces the Knights all the way back. The payload now begins its march towards its final destination here. Yeah, that's a half-health chunk right there. Those Yomi strikes. One final fight for the Knights to try to keep this one back. 1.5 minutes left, so they have something to say towards the end of this game, even if they're successful on this defense. Simsaloo going to get aggressive. Those daggers being pretty heavily in this case, just a little bit too far forward for Simsaloo. Bittner gets the kill. Ricotta, though, in the back line gets spited down by Alex. The Zin hitting all of the shots, hitting its mark. A triple kill, assert dominance, drops down. Getting countered out by the overpower. This time around, Zorini's still alive. NIP kind of slow playing this one, not wanting to force too far forward. The Knights, though, they're going to have that respawn proximity.
Alex, unfortunately, I think feeling the kind of nerfs of Billow there, not going to be able to stay out of the fight long enough to kind of pick things back up. But Diggy Dog's the one picking things up for the team as of right now. I mean, he's got 3.
Yeah, who wants a triple kill? This time it's Diggy Dog. Last time it was Alex. Trying to get back into this fight. They're able to kill off G-Bunny in this case. It becomes a little bit easier. Commanders grab out of the way. They do get the kill. Ricotta's alive, though. He has to back off. Still 30 seconds left. That's the thing you have to look at here. NIP regrouping for one more chance.
If there's anything that this has proven more and more, it's that while Torvald is listed as a frontline, he is a support through and through. He is keeping Khan alive because the shield, while it's going to function differently than a heal, it's just extra stuff they have to burn through as the Knights. Until more Wrecker comes online, it's going to be effective, and it's keeping them in this fight. I mean, that was a 2v5 essentially, and they were still sitting here. Now they have the full team behind them again.
Oh, Bonker gets himself a kill in this one, and Flame starts things off for NIP, and Flame finishes this one off for NIP 2-0. The Knights, without a leg to stand on up to this point, apparently it's working.
It's like the secret is they just do so much damage that it's that concept of, you know, like there's not as much burst individually on this team. Like Yomi strikes are really going to be the big one. Every third strike he's hitting for a pretty big chunk. But then you give that, like you said, the inflame and a bubble, and all of a sudden he's hitting, instead of half your health, 3/4 of your health, or maybe even more of that. Then you apply that, because, as Kresnik had actually mentioned on the desk, if he gets a bubble from Torvald, any shock pulse is going to be boosted for Grok. Right. And all of this little damage that normally you could maybe kind of ignore and move past is impacting Knights in ways that they've never had to really deal with it. So this will be around to see how well they adapt to that amount of damage. Like standing further apart so Shock Pulse doesn't come through, trying not to line up for the Yomi, like how they focus the Zen will probably be the big tell.
Well, this is a split one NIP draft that just caters to the aggression. I mean, their MO is just as aggressive as we can be. We're going to try to knock you back. They're doing that here. Tempest for Bittner. Assists Bird on the first kill in this case. Ricotta trying to play safe. He realizes too far forward. He's walking towards certain doom. Alex continuing his tear. 5 streak for him. You have to talk about Diggy Dog as well. 18 streak, 1 death so far in this game for the Con. A triple kill to seal up that last payload push. 60% for NIP. Knights with nothing to hang on to here. Midnight might just save Simsolo's life. Does just that. Sets up a kill for Ricotta as well. A double kill for the Leon as the Knights look to retake. And
Ricotta's been kind of the saving grace right now. A triple kill as he tacks it up. Looking for a quadroid, which he might be able to find here on Alex.
Yeah.
He's going to burn him through. The 5th one off the board as Zerini got rid of Bonker. But they are not caring too much about the kill streaks. They are just trying to find their control. And that was that moment of relapse from NIP where they were able to kind of take advantage of it as the Knights. And it's almost entirely on Ricotta's back. I mean, Maeve is going in, Midnight's kind of opening the door, but Ricotta's finding shots that they just don't know how to deal with.
Well, he's playing seemingly so properly around this NIP draft, as you would on a Leon. I mean, trying to stay as far back as possible, a little too close this time around. Moves forward, gets dropped off by Bittner. The Knights, though, striking first in this one. No back-to-back 4-0s up to this point here in set number 1.
Now, this is where things get, I want to say, more interesting for this set. I don't really care how this push goes. But obviously, I think it's going to be better for the Knights if they can tie it up. They would like that very much. But at the end of the day, the economy is going to be more or less equalized. Like, kills are going to be very important. But as the game goes on, Knights, especially dying here after they capture a point, they can invest a little more in Wrecker, which I'm pretty sure Ricotta has gone for.
True.
And that's the kind of like the ticking time bomb that is Torvald. He's really good at the beginning, and this NIP draft is overwhelming if they find a 4-0.
Right.
4-2, it's a little more difficult to find. A 4-1, maybe they can pull it out, but they're going to have to kind of pick up a lot more. And when you're already looking at Ricotta being the kind of essential piece for the Knights right now, the better he does, which means the more Wrecker he has, the more it's going to hurt NIP and maybe kind of excel for Simsalou at that point forward.
Well, at 12-8, he's doing just fine. Easily the most positive player on the Knights right now. G-Bunny, unfortunate draft to play into. You got so much damage on the opposite side trying to play frontline into that. Certainly cannot be any fun.
When 90% damage amp still means you're taking 100% of your health bar.
Yeah, that's no fun if I'm playing frontline into that. But you're right. I mean, now we're kind of getting into that point. 10 minutes. You know, a long game is in that 20-minute mark. You're about halfway through here. This is when those Wreckers are going to maybe start coming out and really hitting more effectively. 1-shot, 2-shot. Wrecker 3 for Ricotta. 1 for Zerini, 1 for Simsalou. So they're getting absolutely shredded. Through time and space from Custo, make it 3 for the Genos. This push just got a whole lot easier on the back end of a Cuss Cutie snipe.
And just wide open, look at this. I mean, free time. They have no one to shoot at, nothing to worry about. NIP respawning now, but they're going to have to figure out how they want to take this approach. I mean, a good Void Grip, which does come through there, can just cause a lot of trouble for everyone involved.
And Torvald's main focus, Alex, now dead at the beginning of this fight. If the Pittsburgh Knights play this one properly, they could tie it up. Diggy Dog a little bit too far forward. Cuss Cutie gets his 4th in this re-engage. Make it 5. The Genos starting to hit all of his marks as Ricotta seals it with a double.
That, hands down, I mean, we've only really seen one better than that when it comes down to it. We have seen Gera hit a 4-man kill. And man, it's been over a year since it's happened. So Cuss being able to kind of channel, well, Genos as best as he can. And the perfect lineup with everything. And it's these moments that change a game. I mean, that make that a, man, are they going to be able to do this in 30 seconds? To, yeah, they're going to shred you in these 30 seconds.
Oh, the suspense is killing me. There it is. Oh, it's perfect. Oh, and Alex had just gotten healed as well. Oh, my. They try to jump over it. Doesn't work out that time around. Then, like, sitting ducks, Bird and Bittner, too squishy to survive that. What a game.
God.
I don't want to say game-saving, maybe a bit of an overstatement. They had time to try that one again, but certainly made it easier to force that one in. Tied up at 2 now as we dive back into the action. And Flame starts this one off for NIP, looking to find some kills.
couple of good shots here could potentially change around this point fight. But now, as you had mentioned actually at the end of the last round, Record 3 was online for Ricotta. Getting rid of him means maybe being able to save some face as NIP. But it should be a little more picked up. Zarini having it as well as Simsalou having it means that it's going to tick a little more often. Alex maybe isn't going to be able to make as many crazy plays as he did earlier, so you're going to have to rely a lot more on these champions' kind of inherent abilities more than the Torvald.
Well, the Inflame wears off. Only overpower for NIP. The Knights, Cuss Cutie, Miracle Worker with the triple through time and space. Could do it yet again here. Looks for one. Naturally only trades out his life. He's planted for that moment. Alex takes advantage. Low health bars across the Pittsburgh Knights roster. Now a Dome Shield, the only thing separating the Barrack from death on the opposite side. Assert dominance. Never gonna fall. Alex hits the shots. Hits G-Bunny in midair, and NIP on their way to point number 3.
I mean, it's one of those things, it wasn't completely out of range of Xin, but you have to understand with the way those projectiles are moving, for Alex to flick up and hit shots like that, it's just really impressive. And that's the thing that's catching my eye. You go back the last couple weeks, last game on Eevee, hasn't been necessarily the best pick so far for Alex. It hadn't been hitting the same way it did in Split 1, because I think, her just being around more often, people understand what you're trying to do. They know how to play around her. No one's played Xin in a hot minute. No one's been playing it at the same level Alex has, really. And this is just a different strike. Granted, when you have 2 forms of damage amp behind you, it does help tend to hit harder all of a sudden. And so it keeps you alive a little longer. And it's kind of the inverse of what he did before. Before, he did a lot of good poke. Like, he could maybe finish you down with some Yomi strikes, but then live forever because of Billow. Now, Billow doesn't mean anything. But with this kind of damage amp behind him, he's going to 2-shot you if he does it right.
Well, you mentioned that we rarely see Xin. I feel like if we do, it's always Alex playing the Xin. Every once in a while, there will be a flex elsewhere. More times than not, it's Alex. 28 and 12 for him, 18 for Ricotta, pushing that 20 mark as well. These are 2 damage dealers that are really pushing their team through the finish line. Cuss Cutie, of course, with the triple through time and space earlier in this game to help the Knights force that one through. They need one more defense here to force a .7 NIP. Looking to tie this set up. Midnight drops down for Simsalou. Looking for some kills on the opposite side here. Inflame from Bird starts this one off. Cuss Cutie looking for through time and space. Misses this one. Bird with the first kill in this engagement. Enlightenment on a dead target. Bird with a double kill now. The support's doing some serious work. Make it 3 for the Furia. Zarini with a double kill on the opposite side. NIP heavily in control of this fight and get this payload moving towards the end.
It just feels kind of like a miscommunication there from the Knights. Ricotta could have hit somebody else and maybe chunked them down with that ult. Was using it to buy himself time. Could have gotten a refund on it as well, but ignoring the 50% refund on a kill, he just needed to stay alive, and that damage needed to connect somewhere in order to find its advantage. Whether he's the one who gets that kill and the other player turns their attention elsewhere, or if he is the one who kind of throws his damage elsewhere, it is a game, not saving play, but definitely turns that fight around. Luckily, they still had some time.
That play from Simsalou might have been a game-saving play. Dives in the back line, only gets 2 kills for himself. But chunks down plenty of damage for the rest of his team to clean up. We are going to a .7. Either NIP tied up or the Knights go up 2-0. Big plays from Alex have been a big talking point here. I guess you technically have to throw an asterisk on it since he has a Torvald Furia behind him, but still making good on the opportunity he's been given.
It's one of those things that, playing with Torvald behind you usually gives you a little more leniency. Playing with Furia, like, the healing's going to work out really well for him, and obviously when Inflame's enabled, you maybe take the damage with a grain of salt.
Right.
But at the end of the day, Alex is still playing Xin as Essence very, very well. He's just playing a very, very, very damage-oriented Xin. And it's working out. Looking specifically at what he has, like Havens all around, it's just ignore Ricotta, ignore Simsalou, ignore the damage coming from the Knights, keep himself going. CC doesn't matter. Everyone's got resilience. Like, he is just staying alive and ready.
Well, Zarini is not staying alive and ready in this case. Overpower sees to that. Alex with another kill onto Simsalou. Spite goes up, goes down. Bird with a double kill. Alex with a double kill. With nothing to stand on there are the Knights. Entirely respawning back in base. NIP with a clean 5 sweep. Now looking to zone. Maybe end this game.
Maybe looking for some extra damage. Trying to find these Yomi strikes. And can clip 2 or 3 people here in the right scenario. But with Zerini already this low, it's going to be very difficult. He's going to need a lot more to get to the objective.
Well, he stays alive. The reset
Dome
and
shield.
the dome shield actually keeps him in there. The assert dominance on the opposite side. Tempest, everything now getting thrown out towards the end of this game. 90% for NIP. First kill in this re-engagement. Goes over to the Knights. Simslow hits a couple daggers. Rakata finds the shot as well. Cuss Cutie. Ofer on the through time and space senses triple. And now the Knights, they fight back, and NIP are the ones trying to fight back into it. They have it in flame. They have a hyper beam. You have to look at those two as potentially game-changing.
Now this is where things change from Frog Isle. Before Zerini was on the point, and you win that fight, you're already at 57%. You have a starting point, you close it out. You've won already. Now they're fighting back. NIP still have a chance. They still have an inflame. That's popped. They're going back in. Midnight's going to be able to quell some of that, but that's a lot of damage to have to deal with coming in at you.
Plenty of resilience as well to counter out. 25 health left for Bonker. They don't get him off. Finally, Diggy Dog drops down. Bittner falls as well. Bird is able to answer back with one kill of his own. Simslow, one more volley of daggers, and Alex will seal that one up. And the Knights, they go up 2-0.
It's not the item, but it's resilience and the players there being able to hold on to that one. I mean, that was backs against the wall. Like there's almost nothing going on for them. So much about that NIP draft was phenomenal. But you can kind of see maybe where it falls apart, and that is very, very essential, obvious points. Once the Inflame was used, like countered with the Midnight, it's like, okay, well, Inflame's gone. We canceled that one out. What's the biggest next issue? Torvald. Get rid of Torvald. Right. And that's immediately what Simsaloo does. His slash line, if I remember correctly, that game was not looking really good, especially through the first round, but as time went on, he wasn't the most killingest Mave we've ever seen, but he got the targets that he needed to at the end. And once you lose Bonker on Torvald, all of the support, all of that health that Zen had, all of that extra damage that him and Grok were doing, off the board.
Well, you talk about how the Knights maybe have an advantage into the late game. It went to the late game, and the Knights seal it up. Now up 2-0 over NIP, looking to make it 3 right after this break.
Alienware, the official PC provider of the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back, guys, to the Paladins Premier League. What looked like a very, very decisive win for NIP just ended up turning out to be entirely in favor of PK. Pittsburgh Knights now up 2-0 against NIP. Unprecedented and very, very well played.
Yeah, that was great by them by the end, especially. I mentioned it earlier that they were really going to struggle. The NIP was if it got to the late game, and as soon as it did, they actually managed to win that fight, but kind of almost a failure in focus fire, I think, from NIP was what I saw. I mean, they used both tank ults off the point, Knights did, tried to go back in. Both tanks were low. Neither got focused down.
Yeah.
No one was burnt down, but I mean, damage was high in NIP. That's what you expect from Torvald. 170k shielding from Torv 2, so all that damage was mitigated and taken away from the Knights.
Right, exactly. We're take a look at the stats here, of course. 138,471 for Alex, Bidner, 115,000. Rakata topping the damage charts in the entire game, 140,000. Slash lines were looking good for really both teams. I can't really complain about this. Of course, like Bidner being 6-12 is a little bit disheartening, but 6-12 for Bonker as well. But at the same time, they're doing their job. They're doing what they're supposed to. That's why their assists are so high. And on PK's side, man, Simsaloo was pretty negative at first, but then he switched that around, and he did extremely well. So did the rest of Knights. But of course, how can we talk about Shadow Desert map without talking about the young man, Cuss? Well, okay, young man being used sparingly, Cuss, in this case. Cuss, in this case, doing extremely well with his positioning, with his awareness. I mean, the triple kill, which is right here, Kamehameha, immediate. Just so well done by him. I mean, PK did. I have so many praises for them overall.
Yeah, I thought Cuss positioned really well in Genos. This is a great map for Genos because of how far away you can play and get that healing. I also loved watching everybody on Nip jump at the last second of that through time and space, like an after-school special freeze frame. Like, yeah!
Like a back-to-school, like a back-to-school commercial.
As they get melted down. But the Genos Cuss played really well on that map. A lot of good damage, good chip damage done by him to find some more kills. He ended up, there was a point where he had more killing blows than Simsy did.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, at first it was a little bit harder for Simsy to be able to really go into that. He had the Zen, he had Zen, he had to deal with Grok, he had to deal with the bubble coming out from Torvald. It was so hard for him to really be able to get in, but that's why I was so impressed with him evening it out at 9-9. He was negative at first. He had like 19 assists in the very beginning. But I mean, Alex and them, they put on the pressure, and literally what it was that you were saying was going to happen, I mean, it happened. Like, it was very hard for them to deal with the Zen, very hard to deal with them with the bubble in general. And I mean, of course, I mean, that's just to be expected from NIP. But yeah, Ice Mines, game 3.
Yeah, Nip, after losing that game, they get their pick, and they want to take it to a very different style of map. Going to Ice Mines, we might actually see some of the same picks working here for Nip, but I think that's more the fact that they picked characters that you don't normally see on Shattered Desert, rather than those characters being just flexible across the board.
Right,
Willow, again, banned really early for NIP, and that's not too surprising on Ice Mines.
Yeah. I mean, Willow being banned, once again, like you said, it's not too surprising for it to be banned on Ice Mines. A lot of those blaster characters are really high priority targets. We've seen Dredge before. We've seen Drogos more than anything. We've seen Grok. Being able to have a lot of AoE on this map is going to be very beneficial to you. Makoa being picked in this case, both bans, Makoa, Willow, both of them are gone off of the board. NIP really taking time to consider what it is they might try and go for. But on this map, I wonder, we've seen it before on NIP, but I wonder if Dredge could actually be a likely option.
Maybe after the changes, because he's getting the changes to his ult that make it fire off a little bit faster. We could still see it. It really kind of has to let itself happen. I don't expect it to now that Drogo's got through bans.
Oh, yeah,
because we'll probably see Drogos and Pip filling those roles instead. Most likely. Knights probably going to ban Atlas here. I don't, unless they have something specific against Atlas, or maybe they'll play a Victor. But this map is small enough where, he can just cross that gap. The strong backlines, which would normally counter Atlas, don't really do that on this map. And Knights are kind of baiting NIP into this Torvald again. Maybe they really just want to give Grandpa one last hurrah before he's kind of nerfed out of the meta.
Before he's put in his coffin in his cage.
No,
about next
he's
week.
going to the home.
They have to put him in the home. Poor Torvald. F in chats. Press F to pay respects in this case. Torvald being picked. His last hurrahs in this case for the last couple days. But at the same time, I do like the fact that Knights are pretty much just letting this through. And you did mention it before. I do like this. It shows that they're not really obviously like that afraid of the Torvald. They want to be able to take away some of those pocketed picks, because by them locking in Torvald first, they really have to be able to they can take away a lot of that pressure. But I mean, in this case, they're locking double frontline this time, so they're clearly not that worried about it in this case.
And R and Ash are really great on this map. Ash can kind of play either way. You could play slow on the stage side and immediately cross the distance when you need to. She can also, play in the barn and kind of do that corner pressure through there. And Inara always been incredible on this map. Even when Cripple Inara, the treacherous ground legendary, was meta, you would play her on this map too, because you would just rush Master Riding, mount to their side of barn, put it down, and they just can't come through choke. So she's always kind of been really big on this map. Going to be interesting. I have a feeling Nip's going to end up with a very similar draft to last time. I maybe not the Grok, but I fully expect to see a Zin again, or a flanker of some kind getting pocketed by this Torvald, most likely piloted by Bonkar. Wouldn't be too shocked. I think they would actually get a point tank now too, though. I think they're going to end up with Barrack instead of Comlink, because they banned it this time, Get it completely out of the pool.
So, I mean, I'm really just taking time to consider what it is they could possibly be going for, because, like you said, the Barrack is open in this case, and really, Khan is being banned, Atlas, Makoa are both gone as well. They locked in the Torvald first. We already see that. Nara, Ash, Knights in response. Barrack is being picked, and I do agree. Okay, BK. Now, I do like this BK, of course. That is somebody who it was that I forgot to mention before. I mentioned him last game. Weird I didn't mention him coming into this game. BK being able to control a lot of those choke points, because that's literally what Ice Mines is mostly choke points. It's a lot of areas until you get around, I don't know how to describe it, get around that first turn where you're getting the payload around there, then it's more open. But for most of for most of the point fight or most of that area where the point is where you have to capture it, it's a lot harder, and BK is going to be able to do that if you have proper blasters, which is why BK and Jokos are picked so often.
Yeah, picks on this map, you can really just pick for mid, because you can just
exactly.
say, we'll throw away the pushes because we're probably not going to convert a lot of the time, and just play for mid. BK is definitely one of the premier Torv pockets on the maps where it's good for. I actually wasn't even thinking about it, but it's really smart from NIP. Yeah. Great combo with them. It means, though, that they're going to be very sided in the bar.
Right.
The room next to the point, less so on the stage. So if Knights, they could play a little bit further away. They could play on that stage side and kind of just surround the BK and force him to come to them. There are ways he can still engage, like play through the windows or maybe with a bubbled King Bomb coming in with that speed boost. There's still options for them.
Right, exactly.
But I think Knights have chances to counterplay depending on what their backline is. I wouldn't be shocked to see a Victor or something here, just some raw damage to burst through those shields.
I mean, they did luck in the Pip Genos on the Knights side, so I mean, that's to be expected. We have seen Pip coming out a lot on this map. I mean, he is very, very highly picked on this map as well. I feel like he's picked here more than a few others in this case. I do like the Ying. It sort of gives them a counterplay. Are they putting Alex on Eevee again? Because I see the face palm out the corner of my eye that you're doing. And I remember how it went on Frog Isle before.
It wasn't bad on Frog Isle, though. I think he played well on Frog Isle. It's just more BK Eevee. I said this before. I think they're contractually obligated to pick something weird every single game. They had Shaw game 1. They banned Drogo's game 2. They're picking Eevee on Ice Mines with BK game 3. Very interesting. Imani would not be too surprising. I think from the Knights, looking at Penta, phase 1 of the PML, they had a strategy where they pulled out Imani on Ice Mines. It was actually paired with a Torvald then. Yeah. But the Frost Bomb, very powerful at controlling space. If they're grouping up at all, which BK and Torvald are going to have to be the whole time, the splitting ice is constantly cleaving through the team, constantly applying that damage. So I like the Imani. I think it's a great idea for Ice Mines.
I do too. That's going to be a lot and coming into the engage as well with the Ice Bomb being able to freeze a lot of those individual targets, snaring them there. Now, I love me some Imani too. I love Moji, but Imani's really, really good too. They're both on the same equal scale as me, but at least for me personally.
They're not on the same equal scale in actually being good, though.
Oh, true. Yeah, no, exactly. No,
definitely
but,
not.
You know, I just like bad characters every day. Like, that's normally
well,
just
no,
like
Imani's good is what I'm saying.
Oh, really?
Well,
yeah, I mean,
she's all right.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I will get thrashed by an
plays...
Imani much more in a pub than I ever will get thrashed
by
True,
true. Good point.
But yeah, no, I liked the next draft. I also like how both teams have hit scan supports that will probably go master riding and immediately try to dismount through the gates. That's going to be the start, so it's going to depend a lot on how the positioning gets taken on the mid.
Right, exactly. I mean, we already see it here. 2-0 to Knights. Game 3 on the way.
Well, Gormizer, I'm not sure if it's the curry chicken we had catered today or if it's these drafts, but something spicy here in set number 1. And it is so much fun to watch. We get Imani, Torvald on the opposite side, some Bomb King. This is the draft I like to see. Talk to me about Imani a little bit. Where do you see her? Although you recoiled at something, so I'll give you the floor on that first.
With a Pip, I kind of expect Simzulu to be playing Pip. But it's just weird to me to not see Simzulu on Imani as well, because like I feel like the history I have for him, specifically like referencing what you had heard from Kresnik, this was something that he played with Penta. He would pick up the Imani on Ice Mines and make it look really well. Earlier this split, I believe Ricotta played it though for them, and so it's not uncommon out of there. Although, well, actually, let me rephrase that. It's absolutely uncommon, but it's not like a rare, right? You're still going to see it once every once in a while. But she does a lot. As Kresnik had mentioned, she's going to cleave damage. Every one shot, depending on how close they are in proximity, is 2 shots that you're going to be able to connect on. And the biggest thing is the Dragon, at the end of the day, Bulldozer's going to melt it, but it's a lot of damage if you can get it into any of these narrow corridors on Ice Mines. And then on top of that, Frost Bomb, being able to come through and just big AoE cripple for the team, stops them where they are. I mean, Imani has a lot of control in her kit. And if played properly here by Ricotta, can absolutely control all of NIP.
Well, they're looking for first blood. In this case, they get it. In the meantime, though, right as a fight breaks out, NIP have been standing on the point the entire time, grabbed themselves point number 1. Ricotta with a double kill on the backside. Sereni's going to finish off that one. But, you know, stalled out here. This is sort of the Ice Mines way. First on the board, though, are NIP.
I was going to say, normally there's kind of 2 ways an Ice Mine capture can go. There's capture, and then you win the fight maybe right around then. You start the push immediately. And then there's this, which is the typical we were able to control it, but not because we were winning the fight, but because we distracted you. And NIP got that because Bonker, because Alex, because Bittner are all pretty much zoning everyone out. They're kind of keeping them pushed away, kind of locked either on the high ground or off to the sides. No one could get to the objective, where Diggy was just chilling. He had a martini in one hand. He's just leaned back. And, I mean, he was perfectly content there. A couple of shots from him to maybe impact the fight, but at the end of the day, he did kind of the job he's not normally given. Stand there, don't worry about it.
He did both of those things. Well, that's kind of, it's always a question when you see Torvald come out, who has to flex onto that, because he's effectively a support. You're right when you say that, and that, you know, he's tanky, he has a lot of health, he has a shield and all that, so like you can classify him as a frontliner. In this case, it's Bonker, and then Diggy Dog, like you mentioned, taking up that mantle, and I'm sure it's not the most exciting for Bonker to have to play Torvald twice in a row. But he does it well. Gets a couple kills in this case. Bittner and Alex continuing their tear throughout this one. Alex, of course, had most of those bubbles throughout this game, making good on the damage that's been afforded to him. 5 streaked out members with those last couple assists. The Knights now way back in their base. 30 seconds left, but 30 centimeters left for this payload to go out. Shoulder bash is going to go through, but puts G-Bunny out of range. And it's been all NIP all day here in the first round.
The things that are standing out to me primarily are coming out that Alex is having a much better game on Eevee this time around than we've gotten to kind of see. Not only today, but I mean last week, a couple weeks ago. They just haven't been able to bring it at the same level, and I attribute that less to him and more to people kind of understanding where he is. Not Alex this time around. Alex is on the Bomb King, as it would happen. So Bittner on the Eevee, which actually might be why it's hitting better than I've seen it have come through. Just because he's 6-1 and 6,
Yep.
I mean, he's been having a big impact. And so I think even more important to note that that's Bittner coming through, because it has not been a great pick for for NIP lately. And now I'm questioning if that was Alex, if they would have had that same amount of prowess. But you can see Bulldozers
Look at the Dragon prep.
coming online, and that is for potentially whatever and whenever Rakata happens to throw that one out. I expect we'll see why.
They do have the Genos on their team. So much of that threat is you're going to be able to find the through time and space onto Amani when she's planted down there, bringing out the Dragon. Not under too much threat here. King Bomb from the opposite side rolls out, but the wall is going to negate any range on that one. Seismic crash from Zarini on the back end of a great wall. Help seal up a couple on the mid there. Rakata brings out the Dragon, burns away at Alex, burns away at the back of Diggy Dog, and it's a double kill for the Imani to keep the Knights in this fight.
I mean, that was just the great wall into a good seismic crash that kind of pulls out some of these other ults. And now a polymorph where it doesn't look like it's going to be able to find the kill, but I mean, look at how much time Bittner has not been in the fight. And as an Eevee, that means he's not been able to maybe keep that overtime running for him. It's given the Knights a lot of edge.
That seals it up for them. Point number 1 for the Knights. Good ultimate rotation that time around. Forces him back. I mean, just locked him down. The Dragon was able to get relatively untouched into that closed-off space over there to the right. Rakata with maximum value out of that one. A nice double kill. So now the Knights are going to continue their aggression, look to get this payload moving forward, try to answer what NIP brought first of all. Ice Storm drops down, locks up a couple. Bittner's not alive, though, to follow up on any of that damage as the long march towards the NIP base begins.
All downward, though. Like, and just kind of rest
it's an
on
easy
it.
walk, right?
Relax, yeah, be able to come through. Charge up your ults. I think that's the biggest thing for Knights right now. And very, comparison to last game, almost the exact same concept. Make it in the late game. Get yourself at least one objective, kind of try to get some credits in your pocket, buy Wrecker, and then punish Torvald, punish Bomb King, punish Eevee in ways that they haven't been able to be punished so far because they have, 1,000 more health than they're used to.
Yep.
2,000 more health than they're used to. So you can maybe kind of find that control coming through elsewhere from the Knights as the game goes on. I don't think we're going to get to see a triple kill from Cuss, but you find that
that doesn't happen
kind
every
of
game,
potential
does it?
maybe enabled somewhere else with the Dragon in this case.
Damage charts relatively the same as we saw first time around. 4 all grouped up for the Knights. Then the 3 top ones all for NIP. That's just the nature of Torvald. You're never going to get those high damage off-tank performances out of him. damage amplified might be a fun stat to see. Shielded, there you go, damage shielded.
So imagine
That's
all
a chart
of that,
he'll be at the top of.
and then, well, add, what, 25% damage to every part of those shields?
Take away
Divided by
25.
2,000.
Right.
Then subtract, I'm assuming, his shield.
Right. If we could take away 25% of Alex's damage, then we might have a good number there. The line has been drawn, though, here as the payload stops itself right beneath the NIP bridge. Spittner takes a sneaky angle up behind Zarini, gets the kill, blinks out. A couple more shots onto Simsalou will drop him off. Catches one too many shots from Amani this time around.
Jeez.
The movement is, top of the world in this role, and Spittner shows why. Not in range to contest, though. Forced back, I guess, just for a moment. Defended successfully. This is the same that we saw in Shattered Desert, where they were able to capture one, failed to push. Now we're tied up. Not tied up. Now we are up to 3-1.
And this is where things could shake out a lot differently at the end of the day. I mean, 3-1, still comeback mechanic here for Pittsburgh Knights. So they absolutely can take this. Ricotta's 9-2 and 3. Bulldozer, I think, is where my eyes are going to be. They don't necessarily have the best champions to bulldoze that dragon. Eevee, Bomb King, the projectile nature of them, the arc on the bomb for Bomb King makes it a little difficult if they go to the skybox. Ricotta, this isn't necessarily the map where the dragon's that high up and far away, but you might see that impact kind of Alex here. But 2 level 2s, 1 level 3. Ricotta's going to have to use that only in a moment where he knows it's going to be useful. Otherwise, it comes out, it goes down.
Cuskey helped seal up the game for the Knights last time around with a nice triple kill. Hill will look to do some of the same here through time and space, rips through, only finds a Ying clone. Evil Mojo down onto the low ground, turns a couple, but they're not able to find any kills. Diggy Dog and Bittner do that on the opposite side of things. They're looking free and clear to zone out, maybe for the win here as the Knights are all back respawning.
I mean, you have maybe one person. Well, there goes G-Bunny. So they lost their one person who is going to be able to kind of keep things under control here. A good zone on Ice Mines. I mean, it feels done, but there's still a dragon, and it's going to be coming out. It's going to be met with a King Bomb, though, and that's not looking good.
Technically, you get to double. One onto Monty, one onto Simsalou. Although the little diamond Paladin sign shows up. What a way to seal that one out for NIP. Get themselves onto the board for the first time here in this set. They really want to make that Torvald composition work, and it finally did this time around.
It's one of those things, you can fight against Torvald all day, but you're fighting uphill almost immediately when you let him through. I wouldn't maybe be surprised if the Knights start banning him again or maybe kind of circumventing that. Actually, since they lost this one, being able to be first pick, maybe they want to let him through, pilot their own Torvald. But it also, I want to say, comes with the grain of salt that is always a Knights 2-0 at the beginning. And that is, I've seen this team up 2-0 more times this year than I would maybe argue any other team. And I've also seen them lose from that 2-0 position more than any other team. So it's not done till it's done.
You're not wrong. Gore, he's not ready to call it for good reason. NIP strike back. Map number 3. Got a 2-1. Now another chance for NIP to tie this one up, and that's coming up right after this.
The Paladins Premier League is brought to you by Evil Mojo, developers of Paladins.
Welcome back to the Paladins Premier League, guys. NIP takes their first win over Pittsburgh Knight. Unfortunately, it looks like Amani's mixtape wasn't fire enough in that case. PK 2-1 against NIP. They catch their first win on Ice Mines. And I'm interested to see how NIP are going to try to adapt overall throughout the rest of this set. Like, this is their first win. PK did sort of snatch that one, pull the rug out from under him on Shattered Desert. So it's kind of good to see that they're still awake, alive, and still kicking in this case.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was just the map for Torv to do what he has to do. And also, Tenor can play Eevee. I wish we knew that forever. I wish Nip knew that before this game because he performed really well. But I think across the board, NIP played this Torv composition really well. Having a secondary DPS that didn't need to get pocketed, that can sustain themselves, I think is really important in a Torv composition, so you don't have to spread your bubbles quite as much. Tenor can kind of be self-sufficient while Alex gets the brunt of the damage boosts. Knight still performed pretty well, but it was so hard for them to deal with the pressure from Alex with those damage boosts.
Yeah, I mean, the BK was clearly a force to be reckoned with. We had mentioned it before on the desk as well about how he's going to be able to control choke points like this. Throwing out Grumpy Bomb, being able to toss out just those normal bombs and being able to detonate them such in close spaces means that he's going to end up pumping out a lot of damage at the end of the day. 88,000 damage, 309 overall. But I mean, like, it's interesting to see the BK because, once again, we don't see him as often anymore. He's being sort of overshadowed by Willow and a few other DPS picks that you normally would expect to see. But it's in moments like these where you pick him on Ice Mines that he really starts to shine.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of his best maps, I would say. It's this and Jaguar Falls, the place you expect to see him the most, and that was an amazing King Bomb combined with the bubble. The timing of the bubble, too, is really important because if you don't get the bubble right before you start moving, you won't carry that speed boost into your King Bomb. It's only before you start moving that you can get that benefit. So perfect timing on the bubble was what kind of led to that very aggressive zoning King Bomb, finding exactly what it did.
Right, yeah. I mean, being able to get those, I mean, really sort of on Ice Mines, it seems a little bit, I guess, hubristic of me to say that.
Hubristic.
Yeah, a little bit prideful of me to say that in this case, that the BK bomb, the BK ult being pulled out in that very last second wasn't enough to actually allow them to win. But I mean, technically, if you lost that point fight on Ice Mines at that point, there's not really much of a way you're getting back.
Yeah, and that's why they're going to a totally different map now. Stonekeep smartly starting with the Torvald ban after I think how strong it was last game. There's definitely more ways to play around it on Stonekeep, I would say. There's a couple ways to play the mid. I've mentioned it a couple times already, but being able to play keep side or church side on the high ground or on the low ground. Low ground being more of a point-centric, backline-focused style. And if you're in the keep, you're going to be maybe playing more blasters because you are fighting in a close indoor area. Or you can play some flankers and you can just have that high ground and then set up a pinch on the people that are trying to play on that low ground by the point.
This is another map that you can see BK pretty well on too. I mean, he'll be able to control keep a lot. He'll be able to control church a lot. Him being able to hold these certain angles are really, really going to do a lot. I've said a lot like 3 times in a row, but it's true. It's the fact that BK actually is able to control numerous amounts of space and areas on Stonekeep. It's going to make it really important. But Eevee, Torvald, Atlas, and now NIP are thinking about their last ban, which is Maeve in this case. I agree with that. I like that.
It's specific so they don't have like that total flank dominance. And obviously NIP, I'm sure they've been scrimming a lot with that strategy where they don't ban the power tank. So give them Makoa. You know, we are used to playing into that. I have a feeling Nip might take Cassie. Big game, very strong. It's Leviathan and at breaking the shell shield. Barrack, interesting choice of a main tank as well. They could actually be doing this with Genos and then playing for like a more kitey playstyle, but Willow will be the lock instead, which makes sense. I mean, banned in the first couple games, now finally getting through on a map where she is very strong. Smart by NIP, and the control of Willow can play anywhere. She can play outside of church, she can play inside the keep. She has a lot of different options that they can do, so Nip is still very flexible with the Premier Point Tank and the Premier Blaster.
Right, Barrack Willow once again being locked in on NIP's side. Knights really consider what they're trying to go for. I was about to mention the Leon because, of course, who else would you want to deal with Willow? Khan being picked as well.
In this game,
Knights
you
have
win
a
or
very
you die.
strong
there is
lineup.
No middle ground.
I'm imagining they're obviously going to try. I believe with their team, they can fight with Keep really well already. Like I see the Makoa, I see the Khan, the Leon. I feel like they can be extremely aggressive earlier on in the game. At least that's just what I believe personally for them, for Knights coming into this with these picks. But of course, you know, I'm wondering what you think about this draft so far for right now, Kresical, not on Knight's side.
I was thinking that a couple patches ago, Makoa Khan is the scariest thing you possibly see. You're like, we better have a plan, because if we don't. But it's a lot of execution potential, right? The hook can almost always end up in a kill. Overpower can, again, almost always end up in a kill, with, especially at the level that these teams play at. So it really is going to come down to how well the Knights perform. I think a lot of pressure onto whoever ends up playing the Makoa, because both off tanks. It really could be Zarini and Bunny on either. Could go either way. So a lot of pressure on whoever ends up playing that Makoa, because if those hooks don't connect, depending on how Nip decides to counterpick this Makoa, it could be a really tough game for him.
Yeah, okay, well, the Genos is actually coming through. I mean, Genos, Cassie, you had mentioned it before, big game, of course, especially in the both of them. Khan's going to get his shield pretty much busted wide open at this point. Like, there's no way. Like, when Cassie's going to be able to get that wrecker, when she's going to come online, it's going to be a problem. Genos being picked as well means that, of course, they're going to be able to give their teammates a little bit of extra damage buff. That Void Grip's going to come in really powerful against Khan. Drogos, Maldamba. Now, that's interesting because most of the time, this doesn't mean you can't, but most of the time you don't see Damba picked without an Anar being there.
It's still very good. I mean, speed boosting the Makoa during his ult is really strong, and look at their team. I mean, there's no CC.
Right, yeah.
There's no CC unless they run Vortex Grip that Resilience is going to help with. So now they're forcing them into another item if they want to be able to deal with the Damba at all. So great pick by them. Also recognizing Cassie Willow, not the best at dealing with Drogos. I actually like how Nip started this with the Barrack Willow because it forced them into the Leon because you want that against the Willow, which made the Cassie, which I was calling earlier, a lot more free for them. And Cassie's going to be fantastic into Makoa Khan. But it's going to struggle into this Drogos. It's a lot of pressure on Simsi, I think, to make these picks work because the tanks are going to be under a lot of pressure.
Right, exactly. I mean, of course, NIP, I feel like they're going to just end up locking the Ashe here. Barrack, Ashe, a very, very well-known, very well-known duo frontliner composition. At the same time, though, I feel like that's, me personally, I believe that's why Knights end up picking Khan because they knew that if NIP want this Ashe, then we're going to have to be able to.
They have to do their silly pick. It might be Ruckus.
Okay, well, true, yeah.
Okay, or it could be triple DPS.
Strix. Yeah, it could be triple DPS. Yeah, Strix. Now, this is interesting because I feel like this is sort of shifting a little bit more in Knight's favor. And the only reason why I say that is because of the fact that Strix will be able to do a lot of damage. It'll be a lot harder for them to run in because of the fact that both Makoa and Khan are just going to be just completely like running at you, right? Like without any sort of backup from them. Leon and Drogos will be there, right? But you have 3 DPSs. You have Willow, you have Cassie, you have Strix. That's hard to deal with.
Yep. It's going to be tough. The triple DPS are going to be kiting away a lot of damage. It's going to be really tough for the Knights tanks to burst through.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but here we are in game 4 in this case. Stone, Keep. We're going to throw it right down to the casters to get us into it.
Well, they're certainly not letting off the gas pedal, NIP. They realize that maybe when they're changing stuff up is when they're playing at their best. They do the same here. Gormizer, Genos, Willow, Cassie, Strix. Of course, Barrack down there for the single front line here in this case. G-Bunny looking to pump up the Knights, make this 3-1 set. Alex looking to smile his way to a tied-up set as well. Stone Keep is what awaits on the other side of this one. We get another Strix on Stone Keep. Apparently, he just works anywhere nowadays.
I mean, honestly, it does come down to that Roost. I mean, just damage reduction is really good, and it's a lot of damage that he's able to kind of pump out. Another one of those conversations to potentially look at as not lasting quite so long here anymore since it's getting changed. I believe for next week here for the PPL.
Yeah.
You'll start seeing it, I think, Monday in the console league. But, I mean, looking at his loadout, he's going to take less damage in, deal a ton out. It can play in certain angles, though. I think that's really the big thing is you can find picks like that.
Nice.
And you kind of get an objective over it. And so actually looking through it, no, not running anything down here. Going to have Dexterous as well as his scope penalty kind of pulled away. So a lot of movement and kind of swap for him. He's looking maybe to get more aggressive with it, but right now it's Ricotta who's aggressive.
Shoot, switch, kill. That's what Bittner's going to look to do. Ricotta's doing it all on his own, though. Triple kill for the Leon to start this one out for the Knights. G-Bunny's going to look to get aggressive. One more shot from Ricotta. We'll seal that one up. That's the old bait and switch. Make Bittner get too aggressive for Makoa, and then send Ricotta around the back line. That was an interesting bit of a flag they had going there with Ricotta.
That would make a perfect comic moment as well. Like, I can kill you, and Makoa just going, yes, but can you kill her?
Can you kill her?
Steps to the side, and Leon just pop, pop. Gets rid of you, does exactly what they need. Simsaloo's kind of been able to find a lot of control from this guy. Ricotta, I don't want to go out and say it. I'm pretty sure someone else has gotten a kill.
Oh my God.
But he's pretty much every single kill
Thank
on
you,
the
Zarini.
Knights. So Zarini, oh yeah, I was the first one there to be able to be found. 8 total kills for the Knights. 7-0-1 right now. 14,000 damage, about 2,000 more than we've seen Bittner pump out.
Yeah.
And Ricotta's just playing it perfectly.
He's feeling aggressive. He's feeling good right now. Enlightenment rips through the hallway.
We'll scrub that one off because of the 7-0.
Right. Yeah, when you're 7-0, we can ignore things like that. G-Bunny gets a kill as well. So the frontliners and Ricotta in this case doing the thing. Some good damage, though, coming out from Simsalou on the opposite side. Bittner has been able to somewhat keep pace with Ricotta on the opposite side. Simsalou catches one too many bolts from Diggy Dog in this case and is now back to respawn. Ricotta, though, I mean, that's been a fun storyline to watch throughout this set where, you know, even in their loss, he's had some pretty good performances.
Yeah, I mean, he has been a staple just in general. One of the biggest things, you know, when they came into the league looking at it was his role potentially and essentially being the in-game leader and being DPS. It's not something a lot of teams do for good reason. It's just you have so much to focus on to make that work. And it kind of slowed down. A couple of ults are being popped now, but you know, he's been able to pull some of that pressure off of him, let that spread throughout the team.
Sure.
It feels a lot more like it is kind of oriented. There's still maybe one, this is what we do shot call.
Right.
But the different dynamic has opened up so many more doors and avenues for them to kind of run down. And I would say excel in their play.
Yeah. I think Simsalou coming in definitely took a lot of the solo carry pressure away from Ricotta. I mean, Payan was a fantastic player, but you can tell he's playing a whole new level, or Ricotta's now playing a whole new level of comfort with this rendition of the Pittsburgh Knights lineup. Checking back in with the game, though. Good defense from NIP. Has us stalled out about halfway there. Diggy Dog was running Impulse up to this point. Looks like triple DPS. It's going to hold firm, at least here, just for a moment. 20 seconds remaining. The Knights do have some ultimates if they want to force this one through. NIP on the opposite side have some of the same. Not quite the same pop-off as the beginning of the game for Ricotta, although it's hard to keep pace with a 7-0-1 scoreline in the first mid-fight. One last chance as the payload is going to start moving forward, and Ricotta is in a pretty good spot to make a difference.
I mean, they're going to be able to get overtime at least. And with G-Bunny coming around the side, you still have a way through. You still have a way in. But it is very, very topsy-turvy. It depends maybe a lot more on Ricotta right now. Another one.
Stop! Ricotta's got to stop. He's making it too easy for the Knights right now. The hook comes out. Ricotta's dead, though. That's a big thing to look at. Ancient Rage from G-Bunny, and a great Dread Serpent sends Bittner right into the waiting arms of G-Bunny, who's down in the pit and pushes that one through.
The Knights are playing
well timed. Yeah, right. I mean, they're setting it up on the tee, and they're knocking it out of the park here. They're looking towards win number 3.
I mean, and this is, I'm going to be honest, this is one of those moments where, you know, my job, I'm supposed to say, well, this is what NIP can do going into the next round.
Yeah, but
the only thing I can, a blanket statement, don't let Ricotta kill you so much. That's the only thing, like, that's the only difference I could truly choose. Focused out this Leon, but I mean, some of this isn't coming down to, oh, we weren't trying to kill Leon. It was, we were trying to, she just killed us better at the end of the day.
And that's an understatement. At 11 kills, Ricotta firmly in control of the top kills so far in this game. Bittner at 6 and 5 is holding himself in there.
Poor Alex is 0-5.
Yeah, I mean, Alex has not had a good game. Actually, top damage for NIP. I mean, it is triple DPS, and you do have Luminary Genos at your team. So, little different look there that time around. Alex is going to help his team out, though, and drop off Ricotta and Cuss Cutie to start this one off. A double kill for the Willow. He was 0-5. Now he's 2-5. He heard Jagor. He's starting to get involved in this game, looking for a third kill. The last shot on the reload goes for G-Bunny. NIP now get themselves on the point, looking to zone for their first in this game.
And honestly, that
nice.
timing might be the issue coming through with it, right? It took them a little while to get there. So I'm wondering if they're going to be able to control this and close it as fast as they were able to kind of win that first fight. Well, as of right now, it definitely seems like yes. I mean, they get 93% for free.
Bonker drops the dome shield. Simsalou looking for a Dragon Punch target. He's going to find at least somebody inside. Bird is the target that he finds. No more healing. Bittner is gone as well. Alex dodges out the Enlightenment, but Ricotta calls him on it. A double kill in this fight for the Leon. And everyone from NIP are forced back. Another triple kill. Ricotta cannot stop with the threes throughout this game. And Pittsburgh Knights are looking to make it 3 as well.
He's in a different zone right now. Like, it's just, I don't know what happened to, I mean, even earlier, like, he was playing well today.
Yeah.
This is a different echelon that is coming down from Ricotta. And, I mean, you have maybe a little bit more setup you can credit to G-Bunny, but
Oh my.
a lot of this is him. He's just going off on the side and doing the thing that he needs to do. I mean, 16 and 5 now as he picks up yet another one. And it's hard to focus on him because if you don't, you don't focus him, he's gonna kill you. If you do focus him, then you have Zarini, you have Simsy, you have G-Bunny who are gonna pressure you otherwise.
Well, that thing is left click and then hit your ability keys on rotation, and Ricotta's doing it with the best of them right now. I mean, he is dismantling who was up to this point, or up to the last couple of weeks, arguably the best team in this league. Shows you what type of player he is at 16, 6, and 6. We are sealed out here, minute and 45 seconds left. NIP drawing that line a little bit further forward. Ricotta, though, getting the better of Bittner on that back end engagement is going to help his team out just a little bit. Simsolo finally getting involved as well. Now you just look for those ultimate recharges that help him force it through. And look at G-Bunny, the smart play to keep that payload moving forward while the rest of his team is back fighting on the opposite side.
Simsy kind of showcasing the one downside of Drogo's into Strix is that, well, Strix will hit you pretty often. I think the biggest thing, there's been a lot of gas here for the Knights, considering they've been playing incredibly well. But Diggy is kind of living back to his roots, like very Mufasa, remember who you are kind of moments where it's just, his Cassie has been next level in these moments where he's coming through and finding 2 clean kills.
Yeah.
It's just the consistency of it right now. It's not even his fault, just the consistency of NIP right now is kind of runny compared to the Knights' solid performance.
He did have 3 in this one. Solid. Honestly, from the Knights' perspective, somehow might be an understatement. I mean, everyone seemingly doing their job this time around. Still top damage for NIP. I mean, if you look at Bittner and what he's been able to do at 9, 7, and 7, certainly hasn't been anything to scoff at throughout this one. The engagement moves over to the church side. Diggy Dog just trying to rotate his targets back and forth. Somehow Cuss Cutie stays alive throughout all of that. Ricotta falls first here. Big loss for the Knights. Alex in a great position to make use. Blast Flower, double kill, hook from G-Bunny. Unfortunately pulls Diggy Dog a little bit too close to him. With 5 seconds remaining, looking like this one's all sealed up, looking like NIP are gonna be able to get themselves onto the board. They do just that. Still a chance for the Knights to end it right here, though.
You had mentioned Cuss staying alive. Diggy staying alive in that engagement was probably even more impressive to me, only because of the end game right there towards the end of that round, where it's just him still standing, him being able to come back in and cause a lot of trouble for those tanks. With 2 tanks there, usually that should be game over, like, or at least you should be on the payload. We should still be in overtime right now. But with Diggy coming through and kind of playing the way he did, Zarini, G-Bunny couldn't really handle the pressure. Him staying alive in that engagement is keeping NIP afloat right now.
Sure. Ricotta, quick check-in on him. He's got Cauterized 3, Wrecker 2. Master Riding to get him into position sooner. And 100, we'll call it 100K more healing. 90K in reality for the Knights with Cuss Cutie. Severely out healing Bird in this case. Not super surprising with the Damba and the Genos on the opposite side, but still a stat to take note of nonetheless. Simsolo's in a good spot here if he wants to use the Dragon Punch. Fake Flight from Alex, but he's indoors. He's not going to be able to make full use of that ultimate. Ricotta, in the meantime, wins the engagement with Diggy Dog down on church side. Now you look at NIP, they're on the point, but forced back right now. A couple more shots, good hook. It's not going to clean up Alex. Dragon Punch rips through, gets traded out, though, with Bittner. G-Bunny, Simsolo down. Alex is down on the opposite side as well. The Knights, a few ultimates ready to go here. Nobody taking up the point just yet through time and space. Rips through, finds Ricotta, the perfect target for NIP to get themselves back into this game.
And that's exactly what you need. The only reason they couldn't stand on this point was just because Ricotta's presence has been so big. They've been dealing with G-Bunny just fine. This Makoa, as strong as it can be, specifically when the Ancient Rage comes through, he used his dash and his hook. He doesn't have anything to confirm the damage, so he really just uses that to stay alive.
Oh, Bittner turns and drops Simsolo before dropping to G-Bunny. What a play there from him. G-Bunny thinking smarter than stepping on the point right now. Tense moments as we round this potentially final mid-fight if the Knights are able to seal this one up. Diggy Dog getting aggressive, tumbles in, but now he's got too many targets to look at. Finds G-Bunny waiting around the corner. Looks like Overpower was used as well. Does end up capturing out one in this case. That's Alex this time around. Diggy Dog in behind the Knights here. He has to be careful. There's going to be some respawns. Bittner might have just sealed this one up. Big double kill. Make it 3 for the Strix. And NIP now on the board, only down 1.
Just being able to find those brief reprieves coming through. They seem to have dialed in a lot more on Ricotta this time around. 22 and 12, still a great slash line for the Leon, but definitely starting to pick things up. 17 and 9. Bittner kind of reminding why everyone is a little scared of his Strix.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal all year on this pick, but now you're, I think, feeling it in its current iteration.
Well, it's really Bittner versus Ricotta here in this game. Of course, everyone else doing their role, but when you got 20+ kills on the Leon, closing in on 20 for the Strix. Top damage in the game, though, going to Diggy Dog. You're right. He returns to his role a little bit in this case. The Knights, his defense is not starting off well. Sounds like a triple kill for Diggy on the backside. Simsalou off around the side here. One more shot from Diggy will do it. He finds it. Now the payload just inches away from rolling it.
Honestly, if the Knights delay this for another minute, just charge up their ults, and then it goes through, that's not the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot closer than I think they'd like it to be, but they really just need to spend time trying to get their ults back. The defense is going to be kind of the icing on top to make it delicious. Bird going to get credit for that kill. Simsalou's been playing like dangerously low.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Off the side of the map, and that's the second time we've seen him go down in that area. That's the first time, though, that it's been the kill box that's hit him instead of just the damage coming down from NIP. But lo and behold, it's been able to buy them some time, along with, you know,
Right.
Ricotta just being Ricotta right now.
Time is what the doctor prescribed for the Knights. 3 ultimates there. 4, almost 5 for NIP on the opposite side. Alex has had some interesting Faith Light usage. Lots of times it's kind of been as an escape on the keep side, up in the high ground, not able to fly high above with Simsalou on the Drogos. We do round out, though. 30 seconds left here, looking for one pick to maybe crack this defense. Or NIP. Find another G-Bunny, immediately traded out, though. Zarini gets himself involved. That's Ricotta's cue to dash forward. A little bit too far forward as Bittner finds the headshot. Bird pocketing him this time around. Is Zarini able to find the kill in this case? He's behind the payload, doesn't get the kill. Simsalou does, though. Now he's in behind with 5 seconds left. Great hook. Pulls in Bonker. And it looks like Gore, they are able to find the defensive point.
I'm really happy to see the Knights drafts so far today.
Yeah.
I feel like we are looking at the current meta being played by NIP. A lot of damage amp oriented. This one's probably the most usual, I guess we would see, right? Where it's just the Genos. There's no Tyra involved. There's no Torvald involved. Willow, who's really good, but you know, kind of slipping all of that in there.
Oh my.
Because a lot of that next week is going to kind of disappear. Moldamba is probably going to kind of maybe rise in the echelon. Still up there, I would argue, with maybe Genos and Furia.
Yeah.
But Cuss has been having a huge impact. Yeah, slash line maybe not as quote-unquote pretty. I mean, 4 and 7, 1 and 5. Slice those however you want. Both have 28 assists. But the impact Moldamba can have in a lot of these scenarios when you don't have to worry about like how many ults you have that are CCing you. He's just so good. There's a reason he was a dominating support for so long, and he just provides so much to the team.
And if I look at these two teams, you would have told me week 1 or whenever it would have been last split that this would have been an offensive powerhouse matchup, I would have laughed at you, but that's certainly the way it's panned out today. 1-for-1 trade starts this one off. Make it 2 as NIP get themselves onto the board again. Bonker through the bowling ball is able to find a kill onto Ricotta as well. NIP are going to have half-fast cap as the Knights look to kite backwards, respawn, still an overpower. They used a lot there, though. Both teams did. Overpower, the only difference-making ultimate, the only ultimate for that fact, still left in this one. Zarini looking for a good target. It's going to choose Bittner out of the crowd. Ricotta gets Diggy Dog as well. It's going to be Alex, a healer and a frontliner, trying to fight this one back. Bowling ball keeps Bonker alive, but he drops down a little bit too low. One more shot will do it. Simsalou finds it. And now the Knights, with a clean mid-fight win, they're looking to zone and make this set 3-1.
It's insane to me how much the Knights are kind of swinging back and forth. Ricotta's been very consistent. Simsalou's been very consistent, but he does have a decent set of counters on the other side, matchups that are definitely going in favor of NIP.
Yeah.
But a lot of this right now feels like it's kind of living or dying by Makoa. G-Bunny's been having some phenomenal moments, and then some maybe not so many phenomenal moments, depending on that hook.
Well, that's an anticlimactic win. All the fighting happened just a few seconds earlier, but the Knights able to seal it up. Good defense from them. And now NIP, they got to win 3 straight. Saw Na'Vi do it last split against Envy. Not something we're super used to seeing.
Yeah.
This one was up in the air, Gormizer. I mean, I think a lot of us were just kind of, it could go either way. Depends on who shows up today. And Rakata and the Knights, they're the ones showing up.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, the Knights have been consistent and a little more consistent. The only games where NIP have looked as in control were the Torvald games, and you don't get them every game.
Well, I don't think he ended up at 30, but he was certainly pushing 30 kills. Rakata in game number 4. Now 1 win away from sealing up the set over number 2 NIP are the Knights. Find out if it happens right after this break.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back to the Paladins Premier League, guys. PK, a.k.a. Pittsburgh Knights, are now up 3-1 against NIP. They've been doing so well throughout the entirety of this set. And, I mean, I don't want to get a little bit too ahead of myself here, Kresnik, but, I mean, Rakata, man. Like, it's so hard. Yeah. Like, I literally can't not say his name about this set.
I really wish we could have seen the whole game, but we watched a 25-minute highlight reel.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be just as much. It seemed to be basically the whole game because that's what's happening back and forth. I mean, both teams had players that were just popping off the whole time. I mean, Tenor was hitting tons of shots, 160k damage on his part. Diggy was actually consistently finding shots on a Simsaloo, but Rakata, triple kill after triple kill after triple kill. He was like just unstoppable, basically. And that he was so strong into the triple DPS. Leon is so good into squishies, and when there's more of them, Leon's going to do even better.
Right, I mean, at the same time, though, Diggy Dog did have the most damage in the game. I mean, his slash lines are all pretty positive, but at the same time, Rakata with the 28 kills. Diggy did really good, too. Of course, Big Game played a very huge role into how those damage numbers actually scaled up, especially against the Makoa, especially against the Khan. But once again, you say his name, he will appear, and evidently he pops off as well. It's 100% Rakata. It's rain and ricotta cheese at this point.
I mean, Nip said Rakata's name 3 times in a mirror,
and
this Rakata showed up just absolutely dominating. This is definitely the Knights that I think Rakata's been wanting to play with since they made the changes. They made so much room for him. He was constantly in the right position to do what the team needed. I mean, Leon on this map has always been pretty strong. I think just the fact that she can kind of transition from the high ground to the low ground very quickly. She can cross basically half the map without momentum carrying.
Right.
Really, really strong for Leon, and when someone like Rakata's playing her, unstoppable, especially into that comp.
Right, I mean, you already saw that he was dealing with the Willow very accordingly. He was being in positions where he needed to be. He was hitting not only the enlightenments, but more than anything, of course he was hitting his shots. He was definitely making sure that the presences were following through. They would hit their target. He would just pick it up, or if his team was doing enough damage, if they didn't pick it up, he most certainly got it. You saw it right there with the 28 kills. He was doing so well, man. Like, actually, like, props to him.
Props to some of the DPSs on NIP too, though, because I felt like they were Tenor and Diggy specifically. I mean, Alex had a rough game, but I think he was doing Willow things. Like he did what he needed to, but Diggy and Tenor I think were doing really well across the board. I mean, Diggy was finding a lot of shots onto Simsaloo. Some of them sent him careening off the side of the map 2 lives in a row. But I mean, we saw some of the highlights from Tenor. hitting those crazy quick scopes. I mean, we were talking about Strix before this game started.
Right.
I'm glad we finally got to see him, but even with that play, it wasn't enough to overcome the Knights.
I feel like he didn't have enough distance for him to be able to run away from. I feel like there was a lot of times where he was just sniping, but he would always run into somebody on PK. I mean, his slash lines were positive. He did really well. But it was just a matter of, I don't think he, like I just said, I don't think he had the space to be able to maneuver in a way that allowed him to be able to hit a lot more shots, allowed him to be a little bit more comfortable, because we saw him really popping off when the rest of his team was already, like, pretty much going in. He was able to actually pick up what he needed to. He was hitting a lot of shots, like a lot of them. But once again, it's the fact that Stonekeep wasn't as big as he could have possibly needed, because it was always like PK was somewhere he was trying to go.
I mean, they were setting up the surround, right? I don't
Exactly
think
right.
he was getting too pressured, honestly. I mean, he was hitting a lot of the shots. He was only really getting pressured too much when it was Bunny crossing the distance. We didn't mention him yet, but I mean, I think almost all of his hooks were landing. I even heard him when he was walking to the bathroom. We were walking back to the booth. He was right next to Ricardo, like, dude, my hooks. I think he swore once or twice on top of that, but I'm not going to say that right now. But his hooks were equalizing things a lot, too.
100%.
They were always finding the kills, and that's one of the things about triple DPS. It's harder for Makoa to get in, but once he does get in, all those hooks are going to be way easier to kill if it's all on squishy targets.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I mentioned it very, very briefly back there. We were in the control. We were just talking about how, like, G-Bunny has been hitting hit enough of those hooks to be able to set up his team literally for anything. He was hitting on literally all of NIP. I don't know if he really ever missed one in this case, but regardless of that, I mean, we have the next upcoming map to see where we're going to be in what could potentially be a final game. Now, Jaguar Falls. Now, of course, this is a map that we see all the time when people either want to be able to keep that momentum or if they want to be able to try and get a quick victory in this case.
If any team would deny the pip from 10 or 2, which is something that has brought NIP a lot of success on this map, I feel like it would be Knights. I wouldn't be shocked to see them maybe ban it or pick it early. Torvald actually banned from NIP, and that's surprising to me, just because of how well they've been doing on it. Yep, there we go.
Yep.
All right, I should have waited 10 seconds. I mean, actually, this makes me look a little better, so I'm glad I said it when I did. But pip banned immediately. They know what NIP want, and they're here to deny it. Smart by the Knights. But now this makes me feel like NIP might bring this to the power tank area, the Makoa Atlas both being in.
Right.
We'll have to see exactly what NIP ban next to see where we end up.
Right, exactly. I do agree with that. I mean, of course, you want to be able to deny Pip on here, whether that be, I mean, of course, like, Sims lose on your team, so you wouldn't want to try and deny him the Pip if you could actually give him an opportunity where he could pick him safely. But, of course, Bidner, Tenor, doing really, really well on the Pip. He's very well known for his Pip. Him and Simsy, both really good. So, and just in general, you want to be able to take him completely off of the board. Willow's gone as well, of course. It's something that we typically see because of the fact that not only the damage that she can do, but having dead zone on this map is so important. It's a little bit too important because there's not a lot of places you can go where dead zone won't be hitting.
You can actually get a supplement, though. Like, with the Willow gone, you can maybe play around like a Tyra and get rid of the aggressive tanks. I wouldn't be shocked to see if that's where Knights end up with that Ash ban. Taking that out of the game early denies a lot of the tank aggression. So NIP, I'm sure they're going to end up with a Makoa or an Atlas. If they give Makoa and Atlas to the Knights, then I'm considering this one done and dusted, put a bow on it. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them take that. I think maybe, it's hard to say on this map which one I'd prefer.
Yeah.
Probably, I think a lot of teams have been kind of siding towards Atlas recently, but we know Diggy can play both to a really high level. Tough to say. Smart of them, I think, also to go through their bank time. This is a really important decision of how the rest of the draft is going to shake out.
Right.
So go through your bank time. You have it, even if you know what you want. At least talk about where you think they're going to end up and get ready for the rest of the draft.
Yeah, we already see that NIP is pretty much hovering Makoa at this point. He's going to be they're going to be able to lock him in. Atlas is open as well, which means that Knights will probably be able to. Yep, exactly. They'll be able to not only hover, but make sure that they actually can capitalize on that. They'll take Atlas for themselves along with the con on this map, and that means so much. Divider plays such a heavy role on Jaguar Falls. There's a lot of spaces and a lot of places that it can cover without putting any of the Knights teammates in danger. Like, it's not going to be like, I guess the way I'm trying to phrase is that there will never be a time where he will use it where it won't be effective on Jaguar Falls.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely easy to execute that there. I like how this is ending up. I think, well, we'll find out more about Nip's draft. I mean, they just have Makoa. I mean, I can say that for just having Makoa. That's great, too. But it's going to depend, I think, on how strong the backlines on Nip are in this draft.
Right.
If they can make enough room between them and the Atlas, they can make it a lot easier to deal with. That is definitely Atlas's biggest weakness. And one of Khan's weaknesses, too, because he really doesn't have, like, a gap closer, which, that makes sense. They know they have to deal with the Atlas, so they're going to take the Leon.
The
Strong
next time
backline,
you see
a lot
my
of kite
banners,
potential.
run.
Maybe Cassie, you could argue, would be a little bit better, but I mean, comfort for Tenor. You always want to. You think you always want to give him Leon, unless you're on Frog Isle and you give him Shaolin for some reason. Glad NIP are kind of falling back to what they're comfortable with and what took them to their wins in Phase 1.
Right, exactly. Leon, Barrick, once again locked in. You guys see it up there, already up on the screen. And in this case, really, now that Leon's gone, I wonder if really there will be an opportunity for a potential Drogos, Wormjudge Drogos maybe on this map. I mean, I could see him being really aggressive too. I mean, I'm really just trying to consider, what do you think Knight's options are against NIP with just what they have right now?
With the tanks they have right now, I think they can end up with a Tyra composition, like I said earlier. With the Ashe gone, it's a lot easier to play that. They'll just play inside, play on that Tyra. If NIP end up going Drogos or Eevee or something, it's going to struggle to break through those rooms and get through that space. True. They'll probably end up last picking it if they do, just because it's kind of like a giveaway. But no, they're actually going to stray away from that. Much more standard draft. Cassie and Maeve, both very strong. Cassie for the big game on the Makoa and the shield break on the Barrack. And getting Maeve also, getting Cassie removes the Scout from countering Maeve's Midnight, making the ult a lot more effective. So far, nobody has a cooldown they can burn to get rid of the Midnight. Makoa, Leon, Barrack. Some of them can pop their ult to do it, but then you're popping your ult to do it, and you're kind of already wasting some kind of resource. Right,
exactly. I mean, in this case, I suppose, I mean, I guess NIP, I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, they could pull out the Eevee again if they really wanted to. The Fury, okay. Now, I agree with that a lot in terms of a support. Tyra, okay, so they're going to be the ones that are going to end up locking in the Tyra. You mentioned it multiple times before, and now we're definitely seeing it. I really asked just specifically for Knights, but at the same time, Tyra's good overall, at least until next week. Rest in peace.
Yeah. This is definitely one of the last patches I think she's going to be played as much as she was. She already kind of fell off a little bit, but she's being played on these maps where you can protect her in these small little rooms. On the mid, that's really important and easy to do. So I definitely see it being an option. They have the Inflame Crossfire combo if they want. No way to really protect the Tyra, though. So I think if Atlas and Khan find their way to abuse it, they could make this work. They could really get on her and apply a lot of damage. Genos, I would say, is probably the smarter pick. Maybe even Grover for the Knights if they want to go that way. But picking a healer that can heal through walls is very good on Jaguar Falls. Gives you a lot of options where your healer can position. You can even have them kind of scouting, playing far away from your team because you don't need that line of sight. You can just keep that. And damage boosted Maeve, damage boosted Cassie. That adds up. I mean, we saw last game how much the big game Luminary was doing. And Cat Burglar plus Luminary as well. Tons of damage there too. I think they don't have, they don't really have any combo potential unless they can perfectly combo an Exile into through time and space. But I highly doubt we're going to see that happening, at least today.
Right. I mean, I do like the Cassie, I do like the Maeve, of course, and you mentioned it before. Of course, Luminary buff is going to be playing a very big role, just as it always does whenever it is that you typically will pick Genos. And on Jaguar Falls, I feel like that's going to be really important, being able to control those sides as well as just trying to apply pressure in general. I mean, that's what Cassie and Maeve can do.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to side with Nip, though, looking at this right now.
I agree.
If they protect their Tyra enough, it's going to be great. And they have the best tank left to do it. Atlas Khan, I don't know if they're going to be able to close the distance and make it on. Plus, they have the point tank. Huge advantage for them.
Right, exactly. Well, we're looking at a 3-1 situation right now for Knights. What could potentially be the last game for them. Their victory against NIP. We'll find out right into this game.
Well, the Knights are feeling good. The Knights are looking good. And this could be the game of frontliners finally starting to take some of this over. Last game, I mean, the struggle between Bittner and Ricotta and then Diggy Dog having 50k damage more than anyone else. I mean, it's been kind of a which backliner pops off. This one, though, still could be the same.
Yeah.
You got Makoa, you got Barrack, you got Khan, you got Atlas. This is a game stacked with high priority frontliners.
And specifically Atlas coming through, running Temporal Divide right now, coming into it is going to be the big thing. It's always the conversation, Temporal Divide, Deja Vu. Which one's going to be better for you? Which one's going to be more impactful? On this kind of map, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, see how you're feeling, but Temporal Divide, literally dividing the map in half, can absolutely set your team ahead. I mean, look at this moment where it's just going to be literally separating the team.
First blood goes for Diggy Dog. You're right down Main Street. Either team on opposite side here. The Knights trapped out behind this building here. If NIP look to get aggressive, could be a good time to do it. Bittner cleans up Ricotta. Now they're forced back. NIP start to take control of this mid as the Knights still zoned out behind this building here. Maybe Simslo's able to dive in, find a couple daggers. That turns things around. 72% though, the Knights are 69% rather. The Knights need to dive right now because too much in the future. It's not going to bode well for them. Couple kills, though, sets them up for success.
And being able to come through. There's a lot of low health bars right here, but it's just not got a lot of backing for him. Not enough health on Maeve to be able to go in and fight the 1v2. Nice, good touches coming down. A lot of aggression for the Knights, especially just built into their conversation or into their composition. But the conversation has to be on the side that they're just getting shredded.
Oh, no.
And overpower not connecting is definitely not going to help.
Yeah, this is almost certainly NIP's to lose, and they don't do that. Up 1-0 over the Knights now, looking to make it 2. Bittner gets his hands on the Leon this time around. Ricotta, excuse me, changing things around on Stone Keep. 3-0-4 for Bittner, so affecting 7 kills in the first mid. Ricotta affecting 8 in the last game. Keeping pace, but look at that damage difference. 10K over anyone else, 26K, 2.5 minutes into this game, well over 10K a minute.
I mean, 1 death, 2 deaths the entire time. The kills kind of being spread out. It's just, it's almost night and day compared to Stone Keep, right? And this is one of the best maps for an IP when it comes down. So don't get that wrong, don't get it twisted. They are always going to look good here. And I mean, you get some of the classic combos. I mean, Bittner on Leon has been a huge conversation. It's not the first champion I think of when I think of Bittner, but at the end of the day, he's had nothing but great performances with her. And then you get Diggy on Makoa as well. There's just a lot of control coming down for an IP that gives them a favor.
They're going to be happy with where they're at, and Flame into the crossfire. It's going to decimate the Knights right now as this cart starts to roll forward. Bittner throws his hat on a couple more, drops to Cuss Cutie at the end of the round. Take it as you like, 2-0, about as fast as the game started. And NIP, they're looking good to maybe force a game 6.
That's going to be the question if they can kind of keep it up. There's so many things that can change from the beginning for NIP, but it's kind of focusing the fight. I mean, the way they approached the point here just didn't work for them. There was a fight in 3 different spots for the Knights where at any point they were pretty much at a disadvantage because of how the NIP was grouped up. 2 to 3 of them were able to be involved in every single one of those fights.
Yeah.
So the Knights maybe need to kind of take another crack at the approach to this one. And I'm specifically maybe looking at G-Bunny. You kind of heard the desk mentioning it, but between Atlas and Khan, they don't have the point tank.
Right.
So these off-tanks, the 2 damage dealers that they have on them, need to do so much more work to make this work.
They need to win the fight first, and then maybe you move towards the point. Doesn't happen this time. Through time and space, wide for Cuss Cutie. G-Bunny catches a couple too many Ancient Rage shots. No more Atlas just for a couple seconds. Overpower, though, connects this time around. You see the hand go up. Unfortunate for Diggy Dog, so that's a good one for Zarini, but catches a Enlightenment right on the backside. Ricotta as well. Throws his hat into the ring. Drops off Bittner. A few more shots onto Alex around the corner. We'll seal that one up. Healer in danger on the backside of this one. Bird drops the G-Bunny as well, and the Knights now looking to zone out NIP and get their point on the board.
I'm kind of wondering, well, now looking at it, he's definitely using more versatile versions overall, but it kind of feels like I've seen maybe 1 to 2 different kind of styles of fire coming down from the Atlas gun. And it is one of those guns, for anyone who might not know, that the longer you charge your shot, the more accurate it's going to be, to the point where the 4th and final version is just a pinpoint. And he's just going to double exile Bird and then go for the kill.
Wow, and at a man disadvantage, they're going to use the Inflame and try to pull this one back, and Bonker actually is going to help him do so. G-Bunny controlling this opposite side. Enlightenment does connect for a little bit of damage. Doesn't find any kills, though, as Simsalo is the one doing that. Crossfire for Alex gets set back here. Enough damage to drop off G-Bunny, but not enough shots connecting here. Diggy Dog is back in this fight and looking to get a touch. He's able to do so. Into the shield he goes, though. Overtime begins. Cuss Cutie throws it out for a little bit of zoning. Don't need it, though, as the Knights find themselves on the board with their first point.
Watching that last moment kind of opened my eyes, and the reason that it feels like G-Bunny, even though he's having a huge impact, might not be hitting as hard as I expect.
Yeah.
And he's playing a Deja Vu-esque playstyle with Stasis Field, and it's just it's not working as you would kind of expect. I mean, this version of play where it's just, I'm going to go put a big old wall up for my Cassie and just let her shoot at anything and everything, is unfortunately kind of what you have to do here. But he's kind of getting aggressive with it. He'll spin this long cooldown on something maybe that isn't the best position for the wall.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it gets him this aggressive, if it gets him these kills, then it's starting to pay off.
As fast as NIP's push went last time around, the Knights are trying to match pace. The mid fight a little bit longer. Now rounding this potentially final corner. You have an overpower if you're Zarini to set your team up well. The Exile's almost back. Pretty much even ultimate-wise, but once that Ancient Rage comes up, so difficult to clean up Diggy Dog in a lot of these fights. The shield gets absolutely melted. Not going to use the Ancient Rage. Zarini finds that kill. Might look for an overpower just to seal this one up. Not going to use it just yet, forcing him back into the rocket boots. Gets him some shielding. Simsaloo and Bittner trade out with one another here, so that's a 1-for-1. But the respawn's a little bit more in favor of Bittner in this case. He's going to be ready to get out and fight as soon as possible. Dome Shield as well from NIP. Might just seal this one up. Ricotta forced back. Tumbles in. Gets cleaned up by Alex as G-Bunny falls off. 50 seconds left. And a good start to this defense for NIP.
Now there was a moment, so Zarini turns one way, Ricotta rolls the other. And I'm kind of curious what the comms and calls were for that, right? Because it is that moment where Ricotta rolling in at that low health, that has to be a reset. Like, you know what, I need to go to base, like I want to buy items, I want to group up. Like, me being here has to be something. But Zarini makes the opposite call. Zarini goes the other way, tries to stay alive. Maybe it's just a difference in the right moment, but either way, they're going to be able to group up. Ricotta going to be a little delayed now with that last death, but still 10 seconds. I mean, technically they can touch, they can get in there, but it's not going to be pretty.
Well, this is where that lack of a true frontliner kind of comes out. I mean, who goes between a Khan and an Atlas? I mean, both of them are healthy, both of them are bruisers, but neither of them have that big, deep health pool to shielding some of the other champions do. Able to rip through. Bittner, a nice double kill with the Enlightenment. Looks like he caught a couple. Simsaloo, though, gets him on the end of that engagement. G-Bunny looking for just one more shot to keep him in it. Bird drops him off. Certainly the Mave is not going to be able to seal this one up on Simsaloo's own. Now the Knights down 3-1, going to the next mid. 5 ultimates ready to go. Looking to move their way. One more game to end this set against NIP.
I just need to see go back in the draft and get an R. That's
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
I'm trying to break down where like the composition's falling apart for me, and it really does come down to, I mean, you worded it best. Between Khan and Atlas, who do you put on the point? Would you put Khan on the point? Zarini, he doesn't live long enough in comparison to Barrick, and
Sure.
with Makoa on the other side specifically, that is what makes it fall apart, I think, even more. I think you could make this work if it was Barrick, if it was like maybe Barrick Ruckus. You could definitely have Zarini not deal too much, but there's too much damage, I think, overall for NIP that's causing a lot of trouble for both Zarini and G-Bunny, making it a lot more difficult to find their realm of control.
Control could come on the back end of that in Flame. G-Bunny is going to lock up Bird here, so some good healing mitigation there from G-Bunny on the opposite side. Midnight drops down. G-Bunny gets absolutely melted by Bittner and Alex. Bird as well gets in on the action as Diggy Dog rolls through, looking to help his team seal this one up. Knows Cuscutie is so low around this corner, but smartly, I think, not trying to press that too much. One more shot would have sealed him up. Overpower did connect. Maybe not the target he was expecting. Diggy Dog finds Zarini, though, because of it. Good hook from Diggy. Might seal up this kill under Ricotta, and Ricotta has had such a hard time getting involved.
I mean, a couple of good shots here. It's going to be able to find them 2 kills. And then a second chance from G-Bunny, going to keep him alive. But that's 87%. That's a lot to deal with on the side of NIP that you're going to have to catch up to.
Nice.
Luckily, they have comeback mechanic. They have a couple kills.
Yeah,
So the
but
Knights are
NIP
keeping
have
their
2
head above
ults.
water. Yeah, they're treading water right now, but NIP are looking in a good position to
Yeah.
potentially yank them under.
Dome Shield, huge for finalizing that point. Ancient Rage, big for staying alive for Diggy Dog. Just waiting for the right moment to use it. Not going to use it too soon if he doesn't need to. Simsaloo gets Bird, though. There's no more healing for NIP. Dome Shield does drop down on the point. Somebody's going to have to get in there and get a touch if NIP are not going to win this game. Ancient Rage finally starts to swing away. Alex and Bittner find the 2 kills here. Ricotta has somehow stayed alive, but Bittner seals this one, ties it up nice with a triple kill. And NIP pull this one to a 3-2 set score.
So I'm sure that there are going to be realms of which I'm wrong on this, but Temporal Divide, I don't know how much I like it. Like, I think there are
Yeah.
certain maps where it's going to be really good on.
It's
There's
overkill at some point, right?
Yeah, but there's certain play styles I think that could match it. But here, I think if you are going Deja Vu, if you have that
Yeah.
Temporal Divide on a little bit of a lower cooldown, I mean, you already have so many line of sight breaks on this map.
Yeah.
You already have a lot of places like that's going to be the perfect size to cover a doorway, so you can maybe use it to like dance around on the objective.
Sure.
But if you have Deja Vu on this, maybe you're hitting a little more around the corner. There were a lot of moments where you're losing track of NIP because they just
Right.
take 2 steps to the left, and now you have to go into their den.
Yeah, in a draft, it's hard to say you have too much front line or too much off tank. In this case, maybe just a little bit too much for the Knights. They're still up 3-2. NIP with their 3rd chance to tie up this set in Game 6, which is coming up right after this break.
Respawn, the official gaming chair of the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back to the Paladins Premier League, guys. We've got plenty of more entertainment for you because NIP just won. They won on Jaguar Falls. Now it is 2-3. We have plenty of more, well, potentially what could be plenty of more games, potentially 2 more for NIP, or PK could just end up clutching this game out. However, I mean, NIP really just had a superior draft there. You had mentioned it before, Kresnik, but I mean, they really just had a good draft that PK could not deal with.
Having the point tank, I think, was a really big deal. Ending up getting Atlas and Con, I mean, it's great on paper, but once you get into the nitty-gritty of the game, just the ability to sustain on point, it's really tough to deal with. I actually thought G-Bunny was doing decently well, finding a decent amount of kills. I mean, he soaked a lot of damage, you can see on these stats here, but what he gave to the team just wasn't enough to make a difference, and damage was decently even across the board for Knights, but the slash lines, I think, tell the real story.
Right, exactly, and I'm glad that you phrased it that way as well, because of the fact that you see that Knights didn't really have the game of their lives this time. I mean, NIP clearly, I mean, you can tell based off the slash lines. We have situations before where slash lines didn't really decide the flow of the game because sometimes people had worse slash lines on an opposing team. But at the same time, I mean, Bittner, 16-8 and 16, did super well in this case. I mean, he was doing good enough because of the fact that they had allowed him to pretty much get this Leon.
Can you believe that giving Tenor Leon when it's open can win you games?
Right, yeah.
Kind of crazy, but, you know,
Right.
sometimes that's just the way of the road.
Sometimes it really do be like that.
Really do be like that. Tenor really just doing really well at rotating with his team. A lot of space for him was made by Diggy. I was debating looking at Diggy here, but I think just the Tenor being back on Leon, back on this comfort, moving around the way he needed to on this map, I think it was worth talking about. He really performed really well. Back to the Tenor we're used to, and that's enough sometimes for NIP. They've been relying on him a lot. He really has to perform like that sometimes for NIP to get these wins.
Right, exactly. I mean, I feel like when you give Tenor the option to be able to flex on the characters he's able to be like more comfortable with. Of course, we've known him for his pit, but we also know him for his hit scan capabilities, the capabilities he has as a very, very prominent flex player, and clearly it was there. However, that's enough of that. We see the map coming up next is going to be Bright Marsh, map 6 for these two teams to duke it out on, do their very best on, which is going to be very, very interesting. I'm a little bit interested to see what people are going to bring out on this Bright Marsh, because we've seen Grok Furia before, and I feel like it can be brought out again if either team has a composition for it.
It's definitely one of the maps where you can be a little creative, just because it's compact and it's flat, similar to Jaguar Falls that has that. Definitely a little bit more of a high ground focus because of the rim, but you can play any character that doesn't need mobility. You can play characters that don't have that mobility and kind of flex a bit there. Standard bans to start from Knights, but NIP, I think they noticed the point tank weakness, and good answer from Knights, purely because now if NIP don't want to give up Atlas for free, and of course they don't do this. And now Knights can first pick Barrack. It will give up Willow. Oh, never mind. They'll just do Willow instead. I was going to say that would be the answer, but they're going to go Willow. This unfortunately puts them in that position where they don't have a point tank again. But NIP almost surely going to take it here. Maybe even the Leon to deal with the Willow as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're more than likely going to be able to lock in this Barrack. Yeah, we see that, like you had said, and you were phrasing it so perfectly, is the fact that they had banned the point presence. They noticed it was a little bit weak. They get rid of that point tank, Anar. So that way, if they lock in the Barrack, if they decide to lock in 2 frontliners, which they might go Barrack Ash, they might go Barrack Khan or whatever it is, but I'm really assuming it's Barrack Ash at this point, that's going to leave Knights in a very tricky spot.
Yeah, for sure. Not having a point tank is going to be rough. Willow is actually a decent supplement. I mean, you have the dead zone to kind of win that point fight if you have to. Ash would be great for them because I think if they do that, then Knights would have to be a little bit more cautious about what backlines they pick.
Correct.
They definitely need to have a mobile one. They can't fall into like that Willow Tyra hard point focused defensive play style. They'll have to have someone a little bit more mobile. Ash, smart pickup by them. So now Knights have to kind of stay mobile. I wouldn't be shocked if they end up with like a Willow Maeve comp on Knights' side, and NIP still have all the flexibility in the world.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they can really, from that point on, they've locked in what they've needed to. They can go, really, Knights is feeling a little bit of the pressure here in terms of drafting-wise because NIP they're sitting pretty right now. They have both of their frontliners already locked in. Like you said, they can be as flexible as it is they want to. Willow, in this case, once again, being the first pick for Knights. So thinking a little bit about it. I do agree with the Maeve Willow, but tell me a little bit as to why, tell me a little bit as to your reasoning as to why you feel like Maeve would be good to be able to counteract what they have right now.
Midnight's great for executing, especially on this map. It's really tight. And Maeve also has the ability to go across the far right side, go from high ground to high ground, kind of go over the pit. Pit is what we call that. That side on the, I was going to say on the right, but it doesn't matter. It flips. But that low ground that's next to the point that you can kind of kite away to. I like Maeve there because you have that verticality, the ability to flank behind and then retreat constantly. Good options, but Knights want to save their flexibility for later. They want to be picking that DPS more in response to what Nip are picking. So we're going to have Khan and Grover. Khan, definitely the best remaining tank, I would say. And Grover, very strong healer right now. And with the Willow on their side, they don't have to worry about that dead zone hard counter.
Right, exactly. I mean, once again, Caught 2 is going to be a little bit more of an issue for the Grover as the game goes on, but I mean, having him, I really do like it. Bright Marsh is going to allow them to be able to stick a lot more together. Like you said, Dead Zone's already on their side. They have that going for them, so they don't really have to worry about that on NIP's side. Barrack, Ash being the 2 individuals that are picked on NIP's side. We're trying to just really figure out what they might try and go for now. They have plenty of flexibility, so they can go on to, or at least flex on whoever they feel like.
I expect Leon Furia or Leon Genos here, so they can have a very flexible last pick with their DPS.
There you go.
Yep, Leon Furia. Leon, deal with the Willow. Good burst damage for the Grover, and the consistent cauterize from Leon is also really solid into the Grover too. Furia, definitely the best remaining healer. I actually saw someone, I do have the mixer VOD open right in front of me. Someone did mention Beam Furia. I doubt it, at least on this map specifically, and into the Willow. Is the biggest problem. Dead Zone will completely counteract the Solar Blessing, so we're going to see what we're used to. We're going to see some Cherish. We're going to see some beams being spammed. One side to the other, probably to pressure the backline a little bit more. Nip finally remembered that Tenor plays Leon good.
Right, yeah.
I was happy they finally got back around to it.
Yeah.
After that Shaolin game at the start.
Just NIP during their drafting phase. What's that character's name you're good on again, Tenor? I'm sorry, it was...
Well, okay, Shaolin has all the letters of Leon's name. I understand why they got a little bit confused.
You're like, oh, right, Leon, not Sha. Huh?
The magistrate.
Interesting. Terminus Grover, speed boosted by the Grover to go in, able to negate a lot of damage from the front. If they have everything kind of surrounded on the side, they can keep the Terminus from getting wrapped around. That could be strong. I would also kind of...
Wow.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Khan main tank, Terminus off tank, just shoving that one far side so he can't get surrounded that much. But if they play him on the point, they have to win the fight on the side, because if Terminus gets surrounded, he's dead. There's no going around it. If Terminus surrounded, he is dead.
He has to be holding those chokes, man.
Oh,
he has
wait.
to be looking out for that. But
hold on. Okay. I'm getting flashbacks. I'm sweating. Bright Marsh. Terminus
Kresnik.
Against Drogos.
Kresnik, are you okay? Where you going?
No. Oh, I'm back at SSG
Kresnik.
Envy.
Kresnik, no.
I'm back
Kresnik,
at SSG Envy. Oh, hold on. Okay.
Are you all right? Are you all right?
Yeah. I seem to recall like a 2-17 game that I might have been influential in causing for a Terminus. Drogos is very, very good. into Term. It used to actually be a much better matchup. When the
Right.
Siphon was a little bigger, Drogoz could do a lot. Drogoz Terminus could do a lot. He used to be able to siphon the spit when it was coming in, deny all the spam, but with the changes to the Siphon, Drogoz kind of bullies him. They have to win on these inside fights. If they get forced out at all, there's no way that Term is surviving.
I agree with that 110%. 3-2 Knights in favor. Currently, they could end up winning this game and taking it all. But casters, what do you guys think?
I think I agree. I think the Knights maybe have a good shot of sealing this one up. I don't know how sold I am on the Terminus. I've seen him so much this week. Technically, he had a winning win rate in the games that we've seen him this week. Does that continue here, though, Gormizer? That's the question. Do the Knights forge Terminus into a set victory over NIP?
I mean, it's definitely going to hurt, I think, overall against the Drogoz. But I can't imagine much else maybe causing him that much trouble. Maybe between the Ashe and the Drogoz, there will be a lot of pressure onto him. But if the Knights are feeling confident enough to pick it up, I mean, Zarini's been around long enough that he was, here for the meta where Terminus was one of the strongest tanks to have kind of as your front line. We'll have to see if he can bring it back. Mainly running and focusing on Necromantic Might, just being able to have reduced time or reduced damage required to generate a charge. And you see there on his UI, as well as successful hits with Calamity Blast are going to give him more Power Siphon charge. So he's just going to be able to kind of long-range damage a lot here.
Yeah, lots of poke for sure. A little bit of healing as well. The loadout that he's running. Not using any of those blasts just yet. Getting plenty of healing from the Grover to start this one out. War of Attrition on the opposite side. Ends with Bonker, first blooding G-Bunny in this case. Zarini, though, on the opposite side, there's your Terminus. He gets a kill for himself. Look how fast those charges charge up. They're able to get themselves on the board as well, but look at this. Look at the percentage the entire time. They've just sat Bonker on the point, and they're at 93%, and yeah, you're fighting back, but now you have no room for error. Dragon Punch rips through. Oh no, he doesn't end up catching him. Finally, around the back end, Alex gets the kill. And clean, concise fighting from NIP put them in control of this mid. Some last-ditch efforts from the rest of the Knights. Futile as NIP get on the board first.
Now I'm going to quote a great man, myself, from earlier.
Oh, Gore, the greatest man. Not a great man, the greatest man you could quote. All right.
Where the Knights did exactly what NIP did when I was talking about how great it was. Zarini fought from the point. It didn't matter what you did on the side fight. Zarini got the objective. It was in Frog Isle where that was happening. And this time around, NIP were the ones doing it. It was just Bonker was like, cool, go win your fight.
Right.
I'm just going to chill right around the objective.
He was happy to do it. Double kill from Bittner and Bonker to keep this payload moving forward. Away he goes. Back down as a Shatterfall for Zarini. Always important to kind of take note of that Terminus ult charge. I mean, you only get a couple throughout the game, so when you use that reanimate, ever so important here in this case throughout this game. So he's about to get his first towards the end, and everyone else has generally used one or two. Overpower for G-Bunny. Back off of cooldown, finds the kill. Or maybe used for the first time onto Diggy Dog. Buys themselves a little bit of space.
And honestly, not just the space, but the pushback that they have here is really what's kind of what's picked up by that one. And it's just these moments where if they can continue this route, then you're going to continue seeing the Knights zone out. They should be able to get maybe a somewhat comfortable defense.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm feeling the same way about the Terminus I was feeling when I saw it locked in, which is still very, very unsure.
Right.
And not quite convinced on it, although I will say he gets charges incredibly fast.
Yeah.
With honestly, not just the charges, but charging that up and bouncing it between him and like a Cassie, you can kill someone really quickly in those shots. It's a good little burst of damage. It's not, the same that you're going to see out of some of these other tanks, but it can do a lot.
Oh, no, he doesn't end up hitting it. What a fun interaction. Simsolo turns it around, actually finds the double kill on the back end of it. Alex bets everything on the Dragon Punch there, comes up a little bit short. And now NIP are forced all the way back. 10 seconds remaining. Looks like a good zone from the Knights will put them on the board here for the first time on Bright Marsh. Maybe a blink in on the backside. And actually, there was some movement coming in. suddenly gets a little bit interesting as Bittner's still alive, gets himself a little bit of shielding and a kill as well. Bird still alive. This looked like a sure thing for the Knights, and suddenly it's not quite so sure. G-Bunny gets a double kill, make it 3 for the Con. May have just sealed this one up. Overtime reset by Bonker, hanging out behind his shield, gets tossed away. Overtime is going to evaporate. Tense moments do end up coming in favor of the Knights.
There were so many moments where I was ready to call that. I was like, okay, this is going to be a 2-0. We're going to game 7 already. Like, you know, and then, oh, the Knights have this defense easy. Okay, maybe they don't have this defense. Just back and forth. Roller coaster of a game here from the Knights. And a lot of it is hinging very heavily on these individual performances that keep popping up. I mean, Simsaloo being able to dodge the Dragon Punch, being able to have G-Bunny come out and find 3 kills. With how fast the beginning of that round is, it's really good for the Knights to level this out and seal the deal and keep it 1-1. But they have to make some drastic changes. They have to kind of lock down the certain things. You had Zerini, I would argue, playing really well at the beginning, being able to absorb shots from Alex, absorb shots from Bittner, but you need some more pressure from someone other than just the Terminus.
How aggressive Bonker wants to get here. A pseudo flank around the back side of G-Bunny, assert dominance through the Inflame. Double kill for the Barrack. Zerini taking up the point tank role a little bit. Hasn't used Reanimate up to this point in this game. Not going to use it this time. Alex gets the kill. Bonker takes his hands off the keyboard. Just sits back and is garnering some percentage for NIP.
That's how you know he is very far ahead as far as a point take is going to go. He was able to readjust in his seat while just standing on the objective. Very comfortable coming down from him, or at least I guess now more comfortable than he was before. Simsy, though, finding some good shots. But it's 81%. I mean, it's so big a hill mountain that you have to climb at this point because it's so massive that you, even with Reanimate, even with a second life, you have so much kind of hinging on Zerini's performance against a Barrack.
Yeah, you're hoping a Terminus can kind of out-point tank a Barrack. Questionable Dome Shield placement, not truly on the point. That allowed Zerini to contest just a little bit longer. Good overpower onto Bird as G-Bunny continues his terror. Double kill for the Con. Could wrap the corner, find some more. Simsaloo getting involved. Enlightenment extends the life of Bittner, gets him a kill on the board as well. And now, despite the NIP, having 90% to start this round, the Knights in a great spot to maybe control it. Alex, smart play, trying to blast himself up and over, doesn't work out. Good commander's grab, seals it up, and the Knights, they get themselves the lead for the first time.
Still haven't had to use Reanimate either. I mean, I fully expected to see that expended by now, but it's still being held on to. There's a certain moment where you have to wonder if Zerini could use it in a second like this. I mean, that's 4,000 damage. It's going to be pretty good to be able to come through and find some kills.
Yeah, double kill. Reanimate one. Calamity Blast for the other. Traded out with Alex on the opposite side. Zerini crashing down his third in this engagement. Bird is able to hit the fadeaway shot as he fades away back to base. G-Bunny keeps the cart moving forward here. A little bit better of a look for the Terminus that time around, Gore.
Definitely being able to come through and have a bigger impact. And the perfect timing. Like, this is going to be really weird to say, and it almost actually maybe hurts them to be doing as well as they are right now. But 30%, a minute and a half, he could charge that up for, depending on if they find this push or not, what could be the final mid-fight of the set. It's all going to depend on him, but up into the skies goes Simsy.
This is a great spot for him to be as well. Could find some shots onto the respawning members of NIP. You can't drop down unless you're mobile. And only Alex is. So you're going to have to be fighting from this high ground and then throw yourselves down to try to get a touch. Ricotta, first one onto Diggy Dog here. Some good Calamity shots down. Comes a hammer from Zerini. Catches the Drogos flying just a little bit too low. Nobody left in range for NIP. Game set. Game point, set point. Game set, I guess, technically, for the Pittsburgh Knights. One more mid seals this one up.
They used a lot, though, towards the end. I mean, Fey Flight, Whirlwind, and, well, technically Reanimate used to get that. And Reanimate, you see, used around 2:15 left on the clock. Got to about 50% in the time that they were able to kind of run through with it. And those will be those moments. That's a beautiful trade between the two. Slam down while you're in the beam dying. Perfect trade.
Look at the damage numbers. I mean, literally only Simsalou is higher than, you know, any of the non-healers for NIP. And the Knights, this is an example of just playing objectively better, at least for the last few rounds. Maybe more damage to be absorbed from them. But NIP need to figure out a way to convert some of that great damage into points here. And Shatter fall down, might have dodged the Enlightenment, gets him a kill, if nothing else. On to Bittner, assert dominance for Diggy Dog, gets a double kill on the opposite side of things, trying to keep NIP in this game. But listen to Ricotta in the back line, finding the shots, finding the punches. Alex, in this case, as the dodge roll back for Ricotta, keeps him safe and sound indoors. Looking to take a seat outside, maybe find a few shots. Sorini now is doing his best point tank impression.
It's insane to me to see that not only did Diggy Dog stay alive through all of that, but he got out after all of that. A lot of interesting little kind of small moments coming down as the Knights are looking to get aggressive, but it's going to be the Inflame that might kind of spell their end. Again, they sat on the point, they got 54%, but they're going to need maybe a little more than that to garnish this control and kind of take care of NIP.
If they're able to delay just a little bit longer, which is hard to do against a fast cap, they'll have some big ultimates that could maybe seal this game. Whirlwind from Cuss Cutie puts them right back onto the point. 66% for the Knights. NIP all zoned outside of the base here. They have the reanimate. You bet he'll use that if the time is right. Ricotta gets the first kill onto Bittner. Could that be the last first blood in one of these fights? Simsalou, no more damages left for NIP now. The Pittsburgh Knights train is rolling through the middle. A triple kill from G-Bunny, and that one seals the set.
I'm still on the fence about Terminus, but that was one of the best Terminus moments in combination with Khan. I mean, being able to slam down, hit 3, it was perfect. Massacre Axe earning its name right there at the end as well with G-Bunny helping out, I want to say. He kind of picked up the kills that were set up. Reanimate didn't even need to be used more than the one time.
I mean, that is now, the fall continues for NIP. The fall continues. They've only had, I'm remembering incorrectly, but only a couple of wins throughout the split. 3 in a row, as we're being told now for NIP, that they've lost 3 straight. They don't necessarily have an easier matchup tomorrow. I mean, the fall. Now the question is, where does it stop? And then the rise for the Knights. Where does the rise stop? It's 2 alternating storylines almost.
And there's 2 things that come to my mind when I see this. The first one is just going to have to come down to, it's not the first time that it's happened. I mean, we saw this happen to Envy in Split 1 around the same weeks, honestly, as well. So kind of keep that in mind looking at them. And you ask anyone on NIP, it sucks to lose these sets, but they'd rather do it now than on the world stage.
That's right. I mean, if nothing else, they're just shuffling placements. That top 4 very close. So seeding can absolutely change if NIP don't swap things around. But set 1 in the books. Big 4-2 win for the Knights. Send it back to the desk and hear what they're thinking.
Thank you guys so much for sending it back to us. Sorry, guys, I don't actually have my laptop here. Out of sheer excitement, I actually tossed it out of the way. It ended up breaking, shattering multiple times. Oh, thank you. It's like sharing books in like class. Appreciate it. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. I'm going to have to pay for the laptop it is. The damages will actually come out of my paycheck, whatever the case is.
But contract on the way here.
But yeah, but Pittsburgh Knights did extremely well. I was very, very excited for what they were bringing out. And I mean, the Terminus, man, you were really happy about. So I'm going to let you talk about this one.
I am... I will go so far to say I think I am like the Terminus guy in NA for sure. I am like the defender of Terminus. I think he's a fantastic champion that was undervalued, and this is the first time I've been happy seeing Terminus play in the PPL.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sadak, because I totally told you to play it, and I was totally like, oh, when you did, but oh my God, Serini played so good. He had the right build, the Siphon regen on using Blast. It let him chain it. He let him chain his Siphon. He was hitting all the blasts, which is what you have to do to make Terminus viable. I know it's what I'm talking about, but this is my specialty. This is my bread and butter. I finally get to see him being played. He was Siphoning on his teammates, denying the Drogas. Look at the timing here, flicking back up to block the rockets every time, hitting every blast to get more Siphon. I'm so happy to see him finally being played because I really think he has all this potential that was never being seen, and you guys can finally understand what Terminus is able to do.
And I'm really excited to see it too. You love to see good play coming out from characters that you don't typically see, especially characters that are, for just mostly regarded as bad. I'm happy for you.
No, you just keep going, man.
I'm happy. are pretty much
moment.
like mostly regarded as bad. I'm really, really excited to see characters like that, whether it actually be Moji, whether it be Terminus, whether it be Imani, just regardless of the case. It's always really, really awesome to see play like that. However, we have the victors already on standby. G Bunny, Sim Salute. Take it away, you guys.
Well, hey, congratulations, guys, on your victory. And I guess just taking it from the desk, I'm going to have to continue this line of thought. Who thought of the Terminus, and why did it work out the way it did? Like, why has it failed in the past, and what changed that for this Met?
Serenius just kind of said, I think Terminus is the play here. And we were like,
Everyone was like, all right, cut
The
off
head
Serenius.
tilt.
we were a
Mike.
little bit confused because we wanted to do a Deathball team comp. And we were like, Terminus is not the best Deathball character there is. And then it was like, trust me, I can do it. And we decided to just pick it. But the most important thing is that their last pick had to be a blaster because we took the Grover. So it's automatically Deathball. If they didn't have a blaster, we would just stack and never die. So if we took the Terminus into like a Bond King Drogos, it would always be a good matchup for the Terminus no matter what. They couldn't go a hit scam because of the Grover. So we figured out, well, since they have to take a blaster, Terminus will automatically be fine. And on top of that, they took the Drogos, which means that we always have a reset button with the Terminus if he decides to get ulted by the Drogos.
And obviously, when you're playing against NIP, you have to talk about some of their interesting drafts. You guys had to go up against two Torvald compositions here today, splitting it, one against a Zin, one against the Bomb King. I'm assuming you're prepared for something like that against NIP.
Yeah, I think NIP is like one of the best teams with Torvald right now. They really know how to utilize them, and they work really well as a team. So every single time their first pick, you know, it's either they're going to have a really strong like OP like Atlas or Koa, or they're going to have the Torvald pick, and they're comfortable with both. So they're a really scary
They're
team.
probably the best team. With
They
Torvald.
are the best team with Torvald right now.
Well, you guys were able to get a win in one of them. 4 wins total. Big win for you guys today. 4-2 over NIP. Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow for your second set of the week. Stick around, everyone at home. We got another good one coming at you.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Premier League.